Hello, everybody. My name is Gavin, and this is Topcast, the only podcast dedicated to getting you top at Yu-Gi-Oh. My name's Gavin, and here's my guest for today. Introduce yourself.
You're so my name's Jordan. I go by the online alias Handsome Midnight. If you don't know who I am, I've played in the local Northeast Ohio scene since roughly 2017. I met Gavin here roughly right out of high school. Friend group of ours basically played kind of at the local level. We played online some tournaments. COVID happened obviously 2019 through roughly 2021. We played in a lot of online tournaments together. Gavin's kind of mentored me throughout the years. I'm a very casual player myself. I like to think I'm a little between like casual and competitive, but I've never really gotten like a regional top or anything because I don't take the game super serious. To the point that I could actually like play better for sure if I dedicated time to the game. But I do love the game. I've been playing since I was little. Started obviously back in like early 2005 when we were all kids on the playground, and I started taking the game serious during Edison format. Back like kind of around like the synchro era, stuff like that. I was really young, played in card shops for a couple years, didn't know what I was doing. Came back to the game in 2016, 2017. And thanks to the guidance of Gavin and a couple other friends in our friend group, I was able to kind of get a start into the competitive metagame. And yeah, so here we are today. So
And like, don't count yourself out. Like, you have some online tops. You got a couple.
I have one relative one. Actually, I have it around here somewhere. I don't know where I put it, but I know I have it like displayed somewhere here. I played in MBT's was it the Chow Slime Cup, I
Yeah, the
believe.
chalice line.
Um,
Yeah.
and I do have the field center around here somewhere, and I wish I would have thought to get it. It's probably in my deck box up here, which I will grab for the camera here momentarily. But yeah, I went. I want to say I went 6-2 with Flunder during tier limit format. Which for a note to the audience, that was the last time that I actually played competitively. Um, and that was thanks to Gavin because Gavin put that list together, and we collaborated on it back and forth here and there. And so yeah, that was the last time that I played super competitive or even relatively competitive. I have just been chilling and following content and basically getting the rundown on events from Gavin and friends through our uh, our Yu-Gi-Oh group, Dawn Yu-Gi-Oh, and through online coverage. Essentially, I love watching the game. I love being a part of the game. Unfortunately, playing the game is kind of a cost inefficient thing for me right now, and also the time. I recently started college, so I'm focused on that. But otherwise, yeah, it's I still love the game as always. I think it's always a great game to come back to. Um, and yeah, so that's my backstory with Yu-Gi-Oh.
And
So
actually, this is a good thing for me to start off with while asking you this. So, of course, you and I played all throughout COVID and like a
mhm.
little beforehand. The game has changed a lot.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's something I don't really think about is like the distance between now and like when we started playing back in like 2019 is almost the amount of time of when we started playing and had.
Mhm.
Like, it's,
Yeah,
if you think about it, like, it's been a fucking minute. And
it has. Yeah,
it's so weird to think about it because Altergeist is like Altergeist, Sky Striker, Thunder Dragon. All those decks are significantly better than Trap Tricks.
hmm yeah,
And I think you brought up a good thing when you said like you haven't played since 2022. Tier you can still
mhm.
play.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine like in 2019 going up to someone and being like, "Oh, I'm trying to top a regional with not Altergeist, ABC or the Blue Eye
Yeah.
Structure deck." You're not doing that. It's not going to
No,
happen. Like the
not at all.
fact that we live in a world where you can still take Sprite to a regional and get your invite
Mhm.
is very weird.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Unless you're playing Orcust right now, in which case, good luck getting Lancia because they all prep for the Malice players. I salute you. Godspeed, Banished Soldier.
Oh, dude,
you know.
Dinosaur's strongest warrior right now trying to banish Misk.
Anyway, activate Misk effect. Cool. Chain Lancia. All right, let's go game three. Oh wait, that was game three. All right, cool. See you later.
Man, it's crazy how Dinosaur was even able to get a game.
Yeah, can we talk about the fact that I watched you just, sack multiple like high level players playing Dino Mirrors back in during COVID?
Look,
Crazy.
dude, there's no skill to that. Okay, I mean, there was, but it was like it's way different than it is now.
Oh yeah. Can we talk about like the period where there was like like I don't know if it was like the Dino Discord or like it was just like players in general were like, I'm gonna make the best dinosaur pile known to man. I'm gonna combo and make Appaloosa, and I'm gonna make build a board that you can't break, and then you would throw 3 cards down, and they would go, like,
Dude, okay, you're reminding me right now of okay, so for the audience, right? 2020 is a year lost, right? Like no one knows what top during that format. It's so funny to the point where like wasn't it an MPT joke where people would just post random lists about the Australian Nats in 2020 and just like
yes,
come up with random decks and people will look back at that and I have seen someone try to quote it recently. Like people really don't know what topped. I see people talking about like Adamantipator techs that like you and I both knew about because you and I were both like very active in the luxury discords and in all that stuff. But like people are talking about stuff. I was like, oh, I played this. I'm like, no, you didn't. You weren't playing. I know you weren't there because I was there. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
what's the I don't want to botch this quote, but what is it? Don't preach to me the dark magics in which I was there when they were written.
I was there when they were created, buddy.
Yeah. Insane, man. Insane.
And like I see people talk about all these decks and all these things, and the reason why I bring this up is you and I both know this. The tournament series at the point was insane. Do you remember that Subterror Eldritch like synchro deck?
Oh my god. No, dude.
So if you guys don't know, there was a guy playing online for the longest time. He was like top 100 rated on Dueling Book. And a lot of people were playing this pile where you would just play field spells and Eldritch and all these random cards. And if you just did not open the right hand traps, you could just die to Numeron.
Yep.
You could just get guru'd. And like there was no way to like stop it. There was that 60 card Eldritch pile where you just played like 60 good traps. And you play like Shadal Fusion and all that stuff. To us today, that sounds really bad, but like back in 2020, it was really cool to see. I will say, it was really cool to see that like someone wasn't just trying to Adamantipator or combo you. And like,
I also, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like sometimes seeing 5 good traps. I mean, I remember when I was doing well in the Chalice Slime Monsters, I think they were called the Quarantine Cups when I was still playing.
Yep.
I remember one of them I topped. I was playing against all these Adamantipator players, and I was just out grinding them because I was just like setting my trap cards and I knew where to hit them. Which, look, I personally don't think that Block Dragon should ever come back. But out grinding someone who resolved Block Dragon like 3 times feels nice.
Unshock the block.
Unblock
Unblock the shock and unblock the... Oh man. I want to highlight off of you discussing that pile deck. I just want to say, in that period of time, there was one card that was so much more insufferable, getting sacked by over and over and over, because they would play, like you said, they play a bunch of 1-card combos and into a pile. So it was like they would have Hidden City, they would have Sanguine for the Eldritch engine, and then there was one card. If it wasn't Numeron that got around you, it was always, oh, last card in hand. Let's see what it is. Boom, Red Eyes Fusion.
Oh my god!
Every single time. And I hated it. Bro, do you remember when we played those Team Ironmans all the time? And every time one of us was in that position. Every single time it's like, all right, I played 3 hand traps. He can't do anything else. I have a board set up. And then they go, boom, Red Eyes Fusion. And you're like, I can't play through this. Like,
no, dude, I remember that one 5v5 we played in. And we almost got swept by this one guy because he wasn't playing clean. He was actually like pretty bad, but he kept seeing Imperial Order. And it got to a point where it was like we couldn't beat it. We could not out that card. We would even try to tech for it. You couldn't. You can't. You can't beat it.
Yeah. So like I want to like another short story just to bounce off of this while we have the energy going. So I wasn't there for this, sadly. I'm really like I regret missing this this YCS. I want to say it was a 200th YCS where we had a third party friend of ours show up to the event, and I'm not trying to incriminate them because they don't play anymore. But
yeah, she hasn't played in a while.
Yeah, so like the conversation came up of like, hey, Imperial Order, yeah, I'm playing this. I think they were playing what, 3 of them?
So Okay, for context, right? This was not in the main event. This was not in the main event. So
Thank God.
this was a really good friend of ours, and she really wanted to play at the event. We all went down there together, and after we all scrubbed out of the main event because this was all of our first events, we were all really bad. We entered a winter mat, and I gave her paleo. She had a paleo deck, and we cooked this thing. Like, you know me, I love frogs.
Oh yeah.
So I gave her this paleo deck. It was cooking. It was really good. However, for the Winamat, we all changed our lists. She, unbeknownst to me, had 3 Imperial Orders in the deck. So she plays against her one friend who went down there on Blue Eyes, and they played each other like round 1 of the Winamat. And our one friend just kept getting tilted. It's like, how do you see this card every game? How do you keep seeing Imperial Order? It's almost like you played 3 of it. Crazy. She was.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah.
And then our one friend in our pod who was on Shadal Dino ended up beating her. Which, look, if she just saw it one more time, if she willed it to the top of her deck just one more time, I would have played her in the finals. And that finals would have been really sick. But sadly, that's not what happened.
Remember, duelists, if you don't announce which adventure effect you're using. Oh man.
So, anyways, on today's podcast, I wanted to go on how the meta has shifted. I actually recorded this myself, and I realized I wanted another person, and I was like, you know what? I'll just make this like weekly, bi-weekly, and I'll have a new guest on every week. So this week, of course, I wanted to choose my good friend Jordan. Him and I usually have good banter. We played the game together for a very long time, if you haven't noticed. So thanks for sitting through that little rant as we talk through stuff. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this and doing whatever you guys are doing. Cooking, driving, doing laundry, getting
Don't worry, there will be an hour-long segment where I talk about how the pricing for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a Nintendo Switch, and how I now play exclusively Pokemon Pocket TCG.
Oh, you're so right. You're so right, Pim. You weren't winning that Switch anyway, but good job, Pim.
I just want to elaborate on the point though while we're here that while I don't actively take part in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame right now, so you may hear some takes that are incorrect from me. I just, like I said, I watch content, I study what I can. I tried to research for this podcast as much as I could over the week, so that I was more accurate than I would have been. But in saying that, I hold no ill intent for the game or how I view it. For me, I really love Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a part of my childhood. It's a part of my come up as a person. I've met great people like Gavin through it who remain to be people in my life that I really appreciate having around that are like family to me. So I've created a lot of bonds through this game, and I would like to highlight and quote a pro that I follow a lot, being Joshua Schmidt, that regardless of what the game might do or how it might feel or how it might be, because I have a lot of friends that are like Yu-Gi boomers, where they're like, the game is trash now. I'll never get back into it. I stopped playing during Pendulum. They all say Pendulum every single time.
I don't know why, bro.
They don't know why. They're like, blue card, beige card, go bad. Why go brr?
Dude.
But like, dude, listen, I could sit across from a mouse player right now, and they could full combo me, and I could still play my Blackwing deck and be like, nah, it's chill. It is what it is. I'm playing Blackwing. I chose this.
Yeah, you chose to take that L. You actually just made a donation to Konami. But no, thanks for the context. And that's actually like why I wanted you here. Because like you're always really receptive. You always are down for a conversation. And I think the more important thing is the fact that you don't have any malice towards any of the decks that are in the format right now. Be right back. I'm sewer sliding after that. But anyway, I wanted to discuss the meta, because I think the way how the meta has evolved and shifted, especially as we're going into a ban list, is really interesting.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Oh, shifted. Banned shifter.
Oh yeah, no, we need to ban that card. But
that card needs to go.
I think it would be very nice to talk about how the format has shifted. A couple of our thoughts and opinions. I mean, I've been playing this format a lot. I've been doing moderately okay. I've entered like 2-3 regionals. I scrubbed out of one. I got third at another, and I went like X2 at the other. Mm-hmm. Right? Like nothing like fantastic. I entered YCS Orlando. Orlando was really fun, but there was a big mistake I made with my play, and also I played against three YCS champions in
As you do.
Swiss. And look,
Yeah.
right, I'd like to think I'm okay at this game. Uh, am I YCS champion good? That awoke me to think, no, probably not. Maybe one day, but not today. So it made me kind of look at the format because I actually discussed with them when I was at the event. Like I was trying to go over, it's like, okay, why did you play this? Like, what should I have done better? Like, I think I still want to ask questions.
Mhm.
But first of all, I want to go on Ryzio's best deck, right? Like, we looked at the data. You and I were both like overlooking everything. Ryzio is technically 2 times better than
Yeah.
Malice. It's like a if it's like a 1/3, it's 2/3 better than 1/3. It's literally 2 times better, and it's
Yeah.
crazy, right? Because Malice can do all these fantastic things. They just go off, and I
Mhm.
honestly think. So I think there's like when we look at a format, right? There's like the best deck and the best placed deck,
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
and right now, I don't think. So people would say that Ryzio Fiendsmith is probably the best deck, but I don't think it's the best placed deck.
Hmm.
If I was going to enter an event and I want an edge, I am not playing Ryzio Fiendsmith. And that's the issue I've been having. Where, so I did end up getting third with Ryzio Fiendsmith. Shout out. But, like, I think my issue after the event was that the deck I played had an edge, right? I had, like, infinite gas.
Hmm.
I had all these, like, crazy things my deck could do. But going forward, everyone knew that edge.
Hmm.
Everyone knew what it took to beat my deck. So then when I was playing against people after, it didn't matter how good I was. People realized that the more and more you play the format, you have to sack the ever living shit out of your opponent to take that dub. Like you have to win at whatever means necessary. We're not playing fair Yu-Gi-Oh, bro. And that's at least what I think I excel at. Like excel at, sorry. If I can get you into a fair game state, I'm beating you like 9 out of 10 times, right? I just play a lot of this game. Like
Absolutely.
that's not me trying to be cocky. That's just what I know I'm best at. And people just need to
Mhm.
like sit themselves down, test in ways where you like see where you excel at. When I'm in a format where I feel like I'm playing fair, I'm cooking, bro. When it comes to a point where I need an advantage or an edge, I'm not always good at that. You've seen the decks I played, bro.
Yeah.
I play Saki shit.
My when you say like playing in unfair game states, I think of like and maybe this is going to be a controversial take to some people, right? But like we'll get into this when we talk about like the ban list later and the metagame and such and so on and so forth. Cards like D Shifter versus Lancia mindsets, right?
Yeah.
And the cards that I've seen in the very middle, the smack that middle of these arguments is always Droll and Lockbird. And dude, the funniest thing was back when like we used to grind Drytron format, and then we used to grind Invoke Shadal like it was like Virtual World that format. Every time that I played Invoke Shadal, I was like, "Oh, slam Droll down, dude," and I'm like, "Mm,
No, and like that
hate
was
it here."
that was the thing, right? Where it's like that Sword Soul, like was that Tri Brigade? The Tri
Flu
Brigade deck.
maybe.
No, it was the Tri Brigade because it was before the flu stuff, like the Quick Play came out.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Had
yeah.
been. Yeah.
Because it was when we still had the Wind Barrier statue and some Morgue.
Hmm.
Where when you look back at formats like that, right? Like we look back, it's like, oh, why weren't we playing Sword Soul? Why would we play Sword Soul if you can just get locked out from special summoning wins,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And like we look at it, it's like, oh, we were playing the Invoke deck. Were we correct to play the Invoke deck? I don't think so. Because like we look at it and like, okay, that Invoke deck was cool. You could summon Winda, but then could we do what Tri Brigade did?
No.
No. So
No.
like,
Bird up was crazy.
and I think that's what people are gonna realize when we look back at this format. Where Ryzio Fiendsmith is really good, right? Like you are gonna have the highest representation for now. Looking at the data, you can see that pure Ryzio is just becoming better because it doesn't lose to as many random cards. Like the Bestial Malice deck, I think personally is the best position deck, and I'll go into that later.
Hmm.
Which is crazy to say because we just got 7 Tachyon, which I know you said you haven't been paying attention. That card searches Lancia.
Yeah, that card is crazy. I do, luckily for some context, have a screen pulled up with some of the newer cards so that
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping up with the conversation a little bit, at least trying to be responsible with it. I actually, ironically, before, because we planned to do the podcast episode today, and I was listening to uh, I was listening to another piece of content, and they were talking about Seventh Attack, and I was like, I keep hearing about this card. I need to read it. And then they read it, and I was like, that card's just insane. That card's just actually nuts. Like,
No,
so,
that card
and then
does
they,
it does
sorry,
a
go ahead.
lot. No, it does a lot.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's crazy that that card exists solely for the fact that so the deck that won though 3v3 in Las Vegas, right? It was two pure and a fiendsmith. And I'm gonna be real, I don't think Jesse played the better deck. I think Dominic Couch and Mike Albanese played the better deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because they solved the problem with Ryziel. The problem with Ryziel is you don't always get to play.
Yeah.
Now, like, every hand is doing something. Like, when I went to West Virginia, shout out to my buddy Khalil who got 11th. He bubbled top 8 only because he didn't draw any hand traps against Malice.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks to suck. I don't know. It's almost like, yeah, like that's what Mouse does. That's what Mouse does. And it's really crazy because he did not play the game at all for months. Like, I think he hasn't been to a regional in like a year. And he was like, oh, I need my invite. So we met up the day before. And I'm like, look, here's the deck I'm thinking about playing. I'm going to tell you everything that I was thinking about. And I gave him all my theory. And he just goes like X1 all day.
That's crazy.
And
that's
like,
actually inspirational. That's nuts.
yeah, no, he's crazy. Like, he's really good. Shout out Khalil. And the thing that was crazy, too, is he wasn't playing Charmies.
Mm.
Which was insane, right? Because, like, the idea with Charmies is that people think that you should be playing, like, as many of those as possible. But going into the format, it's almost like Charmies aren't as good as we make them out to be. Like, they're not as good in the Ryziel. They're not as good in the Blue Eyes. It's, like, only good into Malice. And the only reason why you're playing it in Malice is to, like, make sure you don't, like, get blown out. Or it's also good into, like, Mermail, right? But that's... Mermail is also on the point where it's like, I'm just going to jerk off the entire time. I'm just gonna I'm gooning. Like, I'm dead ass gonna hit you with your goons. I'm gooning all over my field. I am going to make as many toads as possible. I'm going to hand rip you for 3. Oh, you hit me with Droll. Oh, I'm looking at your hand. Oh, crazy, I did the 2-card hand loop anyway.
So, like, are we banning Mulling Glacia now?
Okay, let's just hop right into it. Let's hop into the ban list. And then
let's do it. Let's do it. I'm game.
Looking at the meta, right? Mm-hmm. There's a couple like really glaring things, and it's Malice, Ryziel, and just really unfair, unfun games, right? Because at the beginning of like December, as soon as like the Snake Eye hits happened, I remember everyone talking about how fun the format was, how good it was, and at first I agreed. And then Jeff Jones happened. And he solved Malice.
And now he's playing what I don't want to get this wrong. Is it Jeff Jones who's been super excited about the new psychic support that just came out? I think he was the one who was losing his mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because he was the original guy who topped with psychics.
Yeah,
makes sense. He was the Grandmark guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, guys, I'm not super historically, like, when it comes to, like, old top. That's all Gavin, so.
Oh, dude, I could talk for hours about historical Yu-Gi-Oh! But, yeah, the big thing I have is that, like, when you look at the format, I used to love Ryziel mirrors. And then everyone started maining Metaltronus. Everyone started maining Ultimate Slayer. Everyone started to main books. And then Eclipse came out. And Eclipse just kind of changed the game, right? Mm-hmm. Because, do you know what the card Eclipse Twins does?
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I totally forgot that card exists, and I'm pulling it up on TCG Player right now to read it.
I'm gonna be real with you. That card gotta go. You're gonna read it, and you're like, "There's no way. There's no way they printed that."
2 level 4s for this card to execute something you can treat rank 4 monsters you control as level 4 monsters for. Okay, so it stacks like what's her name, Magician. You use it for
Slackered, yeah, like Slackered, Downard, yeah.
Yeah. You can treat it as level 4. You can detach 1 return from this card. This card can make up to 2 attacks. Okay. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 2 other. No. No. Nah. In a Ryziel format, dog? No. No.
Have you noticed?
Not.
Did you notice how it says rank 4 or lower?
Yeah.
So you can attach a toad to a detonator.
I love this game.
You can attach, yeah, dude. You can attach another Eclipse Twins to a Toad, and then when you use the Toad negate on the next turn, you can then use Eclipse Twins to grab back.
That's so cracked.
So
That's insane.
there's a lot of really dumb interactions with these cards, and I'm gonna be real. It's like it reads dumb, but there's a lot of people who consider not playing Eclipse Twins solely for the fact that it's like the most win more card, and all the cards. So Eclipse Twins is dumb, right? Because when you're reading it, you're like, okay, breakers don't matter.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
But if I hit you with Ultimate Slayer or I hit you with Metaltronus, what are you grabbing?
Yeah.
You're not getting it back. So like
Nope.
all the really good cards, you just gotta dodge that. And like,
Mm-hmm.
of course, the Toad interaction's dumb. Of course, there's a lot of dumb interactions. Dog, I can summon back Detonator, and I can use Detonator and attach any monster from my graveyard. Bro, do you remember the fucking Synchro monster Malong? Like the dog that bounces when it hits grave?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Dude, I played against a Centurion player at a case event, like last weekend. Top 8, by the way. And
Amazing. Good stuff.
I hit the guy with Ultimate Slayer, outed his Legatia. And then I made Detonator, attached them along, and then on the next turn, when I pop something, I detached them along and just bounced something else back.
It's so funny.
Like, come on, dude. Like, this card's dumb.
Yeah.
And,
it's
like,
nuts.
saying that, like, I don't think Detonator needs to go, right? But there's
Right.
there's certain
And Duo
cards. Oh. On my soul, Banduo Drive. No,
Yeah.
I personally think, right, where I think the correct hit is one, we can get rid of twins. Because if you get rid of twins, you can't do any of the Heraldic Beast dumb stuff as soon as the new Heraldic Beast support comes out next set. Because they have like a hand rip, if you don't know about that.
I think I heard that they have multiple, right?
Yeah, they can like do a multiple hand rip.
Mhm.
And like, I don't think it's good, but you can do it. And just getting that idea out and like all the dumb things you can do with Eclipse Twins, I think it was a smart thing to print that card as a super. I don't think that card should stay in the game for that long.
No, not at all. I keep forgetting that, and don't kill me in the comments or anything, but like I keep forgetting just since I'm not playing that Detonator's not a once per turn on the Dryden effect, and every time that I read it, I'm like, it's insane.
Dude.
Now, is it ban worthy though? I think it's fine.
I think like the biggest issue, right, was that when I said that like they solved the deck, like you can always play. There's like one or a couple things you can do, where like you can try to hit the Fiendsmith package in a deck, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think the Fiendsmith version of the deck is even that well positioned. It's really good, and you can kind of kill that a couple ways. One, you can just limit ice, because if you limit ice, then like you can't play Desires in Pure anymore, because that's the big thing with playing Pure is you can play all these draw cards. You just don't have to anymore if like
Right.
that card's gone, because you need to see it. And limiting ice also puts you in a position where you can't just always see it to get into your Fiendsmith package, because that's the only one that doesn't lock you.
So I wanted to highlight, since we're talking about Pure Iziel, so kind of spiraling just a little back to earlier. So speaking of Seventh Tachyon, watching this piece of content earlier that I was watching, when they were discussing, they were like, yeah, so like the pros are like split down the middle, where like half of them want to play Seventh Tachyon, and half of them are like, no, don't play Seventh Tachyon. Deck's already too consistent. Like, and it's so funny to hear that, because I'm like, if a deck is so consistent that a card that says, yeah, search card is like shouldn't be played for like min maxing, it's like that's so insane.
Okay.
But like then if you limit ice though, then you open them up to having to play Seventh Tachyon. So then like I guess like domino effect, right? Like
So like here's the real issue, right? Like let's talk about the real math here. I could like mess up these numbers. These numbers are off the dome, right? Pure Rise only has like 12 starters,
yeah, it's fair.
which like sounds good, but like it's really not. Like we're talking like Centurion numbers, Centurion bricks.
Yeah.
Centurion's like known for not opening a starter, right? When you play the 3/7 Tachyon, you go to 15.
Yeah.
Here's the issue, though. The thing that makes Yugioh good is the fact it sees so much non-engine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, I'm not saying you need to play 20 non-engine, but we're in the year 2025. You kind of like, if you don't see that non-engine against like Malice, you
No.
are not guaranteed to play.
Or I think everyone was saying Atlantean Mermail was another one, right? Like if you don't open non-engine against that deck, they leap your whole hand and they go unga bunga, build a board, and you're dead. Like
Dude,
there's
what
no coming back.
it comes to the point when I play against Mermail, I like side out my pots. Like I side out all the cards that like aren't gonna guarantee me to play the next turn because like I
Yeah,
never know. Like I need to play to win.
yeah,
And a card like Pot when I go second isn't gonna guarantee me to win against a deck that's gonna like hand rip me.
yeah. It's nuts.
Which is like crazy. So like I think you're right. Like Moo and Glacia has to go. Like skipping ahead a lot. We haven't really talked a lot about Mermail. But Mermail is just so unfair. And if people are trying to go in the comments, I know people in my area who are like, no, Mermail's not that fair. Like, not that unfair. It's not that good.
Dude, we used to. So okay, so Gavin might remember this a little bit. Back in our old play group, way back years ago, before Atlantean Mermail was like in an area where it was good. This was a format where all I remember was the meta decks were hit, and then everyone was like, all right, Geist and Mermail are going to be the next meta. This was years ago.
Oh, you're talking
And
about like when Pack talked with it.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you. That was the meta. And so what ended up happening was this other guy in our Discord and I were like, hey, let's go be the guys that lab Mermail. And we stayed up building boards and doing like hand testing and combinations for days. Not like concurrent, but like just over time. We labbed and labbed and labbed. And we had boards that like would hand rip for 3, end on Dragoon, end on Herald, end on Toad, and you could still play follow up next turn. And that like you're like, man, I could really summon Moulin Glacia and then end on like Abyss, Gaios, 2 other negates, hand rip for whatever, and then I'm still good on follow up. The deck wasn't super consistent because it would just throw its whole hand on the board, but like now that it's gotten support again, you're kind of like you take all those old like here's one of the problems that I have with Yu-Gi-Oh card design, right? And I don't want to get into like a whole thing about that, but like you take a deck that already has like a toxic foundation for what it does,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go, here's support for that thing, and the support is broken. Like, where do we go from there? You just are kind of brewing a stew that's toxic for the user that's going to eat the stew, and then the more that they eat it, they're like, oh man, this tastes fantastic. I'm gonna hand rip for 4 now, and then I'm gonna die afterwards
And like,
because the player shot me across the table.
no, dude, like you can't hand trap it. Like I play against people like if they summon Neptibus and I don't see a hand trap, I scoop. I don't care how good you are. Like it comes to the
Yeah,
point where like Neptibus sending for cost is too good.
it is. Yeah.
And like it's nuts. Like that card is insane. And there's certain hands in that deck where you can just play through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not gonna matter if you Moon Glacia me because like I just hand whipped myself for 3 cards and you still ended on a board because I opened 3 hand traps.
What's that card that came out? I'm currently looking for it. It was a level 4, and it came out with it was like Deep Sea Diva support.
Oh, it's Deep
And
Sea Minstrel.
is it Minstrel?
It's
That does
Minstrel.
sound familiar.
Yeah, the one that
Uh,
says Forceful Sentry and Trigger Dragoons.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The card's nuts. Yeah, I remember that card came out shortly after we started labbing the deck, and I was like, nah, this is the tech, and everyone was like, no, it's not the tech, and then everyone started playing it, and I'm like, the card literally looks at your opponent's hand and says rip one. It's just nib proof. You throw that card down, you go, show me your hand, buddy, give me that one. So unless you ban a pointer or the Red Lotus, in which case.
Oh, yeah. I wonder who would have done that. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, like that deck has so many just toxic elements to it. Like everything that people hate to play against, the deck has. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many ways you can hit it. Honestly, like, I don't even think it would be too crazy to be like, ban Moon Glacia,
Yeah.
ban like something in the deck has to go. Like I don't care if it's one thing, I don't care if it's multiple. And ideally, it should be multiple. Like the OCG does not have Toad.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but we do. So like there's a lot of repercussions we have because of that, right? Like there was the Toad play with the Clips twins, right? Because now Ryziel can make Toad.
Mm-hmm.
There's like so many like dumb little things. and it leads to a position where it's like I don't think that card should stay. Like the card has to go. And after they hand rip you for like 3 or 2 in Mermail, they then end on double toad. So basically, I have one card that's going to be live.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not counting them having more interruptions or hand traps.
Right. Do you think that this is a total shot in the dark? Just since the last format I played seriously almost 2022. Do you think that banning Toad would also help support like Sprite a little bit and maybe bringing back Sprite Elf, or can that card just never come back?
Oh my god, Sprite Elf can never come back.
Okay,
Like
I
for
thought
now.
so.
For now.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can see if they ban Toad, they can bring back like Ronin Totem.
Mm-hmm.
Like there have been so many times that Konami has like shot the messenger instead of killing the problem.
Yep.
And I think Toad was probably the bigger problem than Rodentone. Like Rodentone has done some disgusting things, right? There's a lot of dumb things that Rodentone lets you do, right?
Yep.
But I don't think it could stay banned if you get rid of Toad.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I like that you brought up the metaphor on shooting the messenger. On that note, we had this discussion like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. This deck is not, from my understanding, relevant to the metagame. It's like a good rogue choice, or at least a popular rogue choice. Yay or nay, are we banning Sanctifier? We're just gonna get it out, like.
So at the last event, Sanctifier wasn't a topping Blue Eyes list.
Oh my
Because
god.
because off of spheres, you can summon Albaz. So you now have double disruption. You can make Sanctifier, and then you can give your opponent the Link 1 Blue Eyes that says you cannot special summon monsters other than dragons.
So it's
You
just
puppet lock.
it's just the Buster Lock,
Yeah.
kind of like it.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like, oh man,
I remember
that's
like
so insane.
I remember in my team chat, shout out Team Pie for Life. I was talking to some people, and I'm like, oh yeah, what if I play Albaz as like an interrupt? And I played it as a joke. You know, I didn't think about that if, you know, someone played that deck, and by the grace of God, they didn't draw one of their 6 bricks the entire tournament, and they just topped with it. Because, like, to be fair, that is like the Blue Eyes problem. Like, if we were looking at Blue Eyes like objectively, the deck is good. Like, the deck is fine.
Yeah.
You're playing 6 bricks. Like, you're playing like the field spell. You're playing 2 Blue Eyes. You're playing 2 of the traps, and you're playing whatever bad like targets you can play. Some people play Jet Dragon. So you're objectively playing 5 bricks. You're playing a hand in your deck at all times that you don't want to see.
Yeah. Yep. And OTS 27 that came out on the 26th of February came out with Sage with Eyes of Blue that I believe did it get an ulti?
It got an
Is that what
ulti.
it got?
Yeah, it's
That's
like the
sick.
first
Yeah.
money ulti we've had in a while.
Yeah, that's insane. And you know, people are gonna collect playsets of that. They're gonna buy that up.
Oh no, I have a buddy who has all the QCR stuff like already.
That's nuts. That's insane.
Oh, but back to the band stuff. Sorry, I can see Sanctifier being hit. I can see Moon Glacier being hit. Honestly, if I'm being as objective as possible, Fiendsmith probably needs a hit. But I don't think there's a lot of the things that we can hit from it, right? Like, of course, you can just go, oh, ban Moon. But
Ban Moon, Lemon Engraver, like the general, like what people say. But like, do you want to do that? Because then, like, you look at killing the engine, right?
well,
like,
I think there's a smarter hit.
Mhm.
I think there's 100% a smarter hit you can do.
Mhm.
And it's banning Necroquip.
See, you and I were not on the same wavelength. I mean, I was gonna just shitpost and say ban Fabled Lurie, but you know,
Shit. Because, like, okay, if we're objectively looking at what the Fiendsmith package can do, right? It's not that crazy.
no,
The package is, like, all in all, like, I hate to say this, it's not that good. Like, it's really
just
good.
bodies.
You can, they're bodies. Like, they're really good. You can throw them in anything. Like, there's a lot of really cool things you can do with them, and they're really unique. And, like, I love this package, right? And I'm not saying this because I don't want to hit, because I played this deck in everything I played in the past, like, year. Like,
Mhm.
I quit the game a little bit after info came out because I was just done. Like, the game was too overpriced. But then everything went down. The game felt more fun. Yeah, there's just like a lot of like things that made me quit. And then I started playing Fiendsmith. I'm like, oh, this is actually really fun.
Mhm.
Now, with me saying my bias that could exist, I think there's like a couple ways you can hit the Fiendsmith package, right?
Mhm.
You can ban like Moon, right?
Yeah.
That would be cool. But then like, how does that hit the Fiendsmith Yugioh deck? It doesn't.
Mhm.
It still exists. They still have Exciton Knight.
Yep.
Okay, well then how do you hit it meaningfully? Do you ban Exciton Knight again? No. Like that's ridiculous. Like the
Mhm.
card's not that good. Are we gonna
Yeah,
ban
and
every Light Fiend?
yeah, they're
Yeah.
all gone, all of them.
Yeah, like the entire
Um,
subtype's gone. Like, no! Like there's a better answer.
yeah. So, I also like I want to highlight this. I know this is a popular discussion in Banlist talks, but like the idea behind limiting a Saki card and making it Sakier. Like now, I don't necessarily know if Engraver is considered to be like Saki as like what you would consider like Maxi, right? In this conversation, where Maxi would be the Saki one of, but like taking a powerful card and limiting it is really hard for me if it's not like in a very meaningful way. And I think this is important because, like you said, you can try to ban Moon, then there are other options. Like yeah, you then at that point you are crippling the diversity of the splashability, but then people can still splash in with Exciton Knight, which they will play in decks, especially like Brazil because it's rank 4. Or at that point you can like just play Engraver all the time, and like at that point like people say, oh well, just limit Engraver, but like then they're just gonna either dump the one Engraver or they're gonna draw the one Engraver. Like there's no like there feels like there's no winning when you try to hit Engraver specifically, and people go, "Oh, well, ban Engraver. You ban Engraver, you kill the Fiendsmith engine." That's just
Exactly.
like, you can't, you shouldn't do that. It's not powerful. It's just splashable. So
And like some people say hit Requiem, which like I can see, right? It's a link one, but then the
yeah,
the deck doesn't work.
no,
Like
not
you
at all.
have to see like the entire point of the deck is that you're playing Devil May Cry.
Hmm.
Like you go like you're dead ass like awakening Dante. Like come on. Like when you get rid of that, the deck doesn't work. Nothing in the deck functions, right? Because then you have to see exactly two Light Fiends. The deck doesn't really excel at doing that, especially since you hit the fusion that does that.
Yeah,
So then it's
absolutely.
like, I mean, like maybe you can like do it in like response to the new like Fable stuff coming out, but I don't think that's the way to go. I think if you ban Necroquip, it was a common anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It was a common for a reason.
Yeah,
The deck can't as easily go into DDD.
yeah. No
Or
more High Wave King Caesar. Yep.
no Wave High King Caesar. You can't do like the stupid stuff where you can make Necroquip and then you can discard Lubellion
Yep.
and then get like a +2 for like no reason.
So, I want to say, and this is purely speculative from what I've heard around the grapevine, but I'm pretty sure that Necroquip still is not in Master Duel.
Necroquip is not
And
in Master Duel.
yeah, and probably for good reason. I'm pretty sure if I remember right, they said around the last Duelist Cup or so that they added in like Aerial Leader,
Yes.
but they have like Ubel in the game, but they don't have like Necroquip at all. And there's probably a good reason for that, right? Like
Yeah.
kind of nuts. Like
Well, like the thing is, right, is that Necroquip was a TCG exclusive.
oh, I didn't know that
Yeah. So
actually.
like
That's wild.
the Fiendsmith package has been better here than it was in the OCG for a while. Same thing as
Makes a
Area
lot of sense
Leader.
now.
So like
Yeah.
we had a lot of lines, right, where you can go into Area Leader in. So okay, let's say you're playing Ubel, right? Perfect
Mhm.
example, and you get drolled. Well, all you needed was one search because then you can go into Area Leader off of your sequence. You can dump Shavara, and then you can go into Yama. Yama grab back to Shavara and full combo.
Mhm.
Like, there's a lot of really cool counterplay that Aerial Leader gives you. But, like, Necroquip does the same thing, but in a kind of a toxic way, where it's a link one. Like, Necroquip is literally a link one. There is a
Yeah.
line now where you can turn Desiree into Necroquip because Desiree will be equipped with something. You then send a card for
Yep.
free, and then you summon out Engraver, and then you can use Lacrima on the opponent's turn to summon out the Link 3 Agmande and summon Desiree on the
Hmm.
opponent's turn.
Insane.
And like then it leverages the questions like, is DDD the problem? Is Necroquip the problem? Are they both just somewhere? Are they both issues? Right?
Yeah. High
Like,
King Caesar, he's an Omni, right? If
no,
I remember right.
he's double Saw Morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me pull up his text just to make sure I know what I'm dealing with
Yeah,
here.
like in Fiendsmith Ryziel, if you're having a low ball hand, you can just go into that. That's how you play around Nib, right? Like that's the reason why like Nib is pretty bad right now.
When a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated, that includes an effect that special on its monster, quick affecting detach material, negate the activation if you destroy this card. I feel like that's much more broken than just an Omni negate too.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's also not once per chain.
yeah, I was about to say I'm not seeing a once per anything on this card.
No, like that card's crazy. Like I think there's an argument where if you're hitting the Fiendsmith package, you just hit the payoff, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the idea with, and maybe this is an inappropriate comparison, but it's kind of like the idea of kind of like what we had during Snake Eye format where we were like, hit Appaloosa, for example, instead of like Flamberge Dragon. Like you hit, in terms of like the combo pieces, you can hit not even necessarily for like Snake Eye, but you hit like you hit Baron, you hit Borload Savage, like you hit the payoffs that are the cards that are toxic once you get to them, and then you're like, okay, well now like the combo's still there, but now it's just a combo, just like the Fiendsmith engine. It's like if you get rid of Caesar, there's no payoff for that 6, so now you're just throwing bodies down to summon something else, right?
No,
So
exactly. Like the bodies are annoying, sure, right? And of course we got like that new like Duke of Demise or whatever, which like gives you an extra like normal summon or something dumb. But like if you just ban the payoff or ban the Necroquip, the game could be in a lot better of a position. So like I'm not like trying to throw Fiendsmith and everything as like a way to beat Nib. And now like there's a really cool line you can do with Fiendsmith where you just summon Necroquip and you go anything, and they're like, oh shit, I think I have to nib you now, and then they nib you, or they're not going to nib you, and now you just do the entire Desiree line because why wouldn't you? There's no nib.
yeah.
So like, I don't know, like one of those two cards is an answer. Uh, I think the better thing, right, that I want to look at is Malice.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm being real with you. I don't think there's a way to hit Malice without hitting it directly.
Ban Dormouse, GG.
Oh, we're so back. You're so right.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a confession on this podcast, and I know I can get torn apart for this. Uh, I to this day have not read a single fucking Malice card, and I refuse to read them. I will not read them.
Oh, you're about to learn. You're about to
Like
learn.
it's insane.
No, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. I think Malice is probably the best positioned deck right now,
Mm,
solely for the fact, right, where okay, you're playing Ryziel, right? You have a bunch of hand
yeah.
traps. Your opponents can play D barrier.
Mm,
You're playing Malice. You can get Lanciad, right?
yeah.
No, because Malice can do the exact same thing that Ryziel does, and just throw in the Fiendsmith cards.
Yep.
The issue with Malice is that the deck is like hyper, like you, it's super normal summon reliant,
Mm,
right? Where it's like you have so many of the bodies, but there's been like lists going around where they just started cutting the bodies because you can use like the Fiendsmith package to get into everything.
yeah.
Like how the deck functions basically is that like it's really cute. It's Alice in Wonderland. You're going through the banished zone to come back to Wonderland.
That's a cool theme. I
It's
like that.
it's really cool, but it's really toxic when there's cards like Shifter
Mm,
and like there's cards like the Bestials and you make them dark.
mm,
So
yeah.
like there's infinite ways to go through it. The Bestials are like in a really weird position where I haven't listened to many banlist discussions, but the one thing I did listen to is I listened to Nesh's, and
Mm,
he said you can't ban the Bestials because if you ban the Bestials, there's going to be a deck one day where you're gonna wish you had them.
I'm Gentleman. Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry, had something in my chest there,
Yeah.
man. Woo.
Oh, not the tier.
Uh, Insane, dude. Yeah.
But like it's right, right? Like you ban the Bishuals, we're gonna get the heraldic support, and they're gonna have like the looping of the Ouroboros.
Mm.
There's so many other things coming up where like you're like wow, like there's think about how many toxic light and dark decks there are,
Yeah.
and
A
how many
lot.
times Bishuals have like kind of saved us from like playing against like awful formats.
Absolutely. And I wanna before we get a deep dive into Malice and how to fix the issue, I wanna make a comment on correlation not being causation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the saying is vice versa. I don't know, but because obviously I look at you as like a general pro in the game,
Nah,
and so
nah.
yeah, I mean, not maybe not like a pro like you don't grind world points and you don't play the Master Duel Cup day in day out stuff like that. But like
Mm-hmm.
you know what you're doing. You play in a lot of events. You're very well versed in the game, and I think it's fair to say that just because the deck does not see every single top or is not tier 0 or is not even seeing as much representation as Ryzeal, that it isn't problematic in its card design or what it does. And I think
Yes.
that's important because when we look at all these results from a lot of these YCSs, you made the comment earlier that I want to highlight, where it's not nearly as represented as Ryzeal. It doesn't get nearly as many tops as Ryzeal, but is it problematic? I would say, and I know I did just say I haven't read a single Malice card. I have watched gameplay, and even though I haven't read the cards, I can understand context clues. Deck does seem very toxic, like, oh, I don't open up a hand trap, let's just go game 2 type toxic. Like, and it's one of those things that, like,
Mm-hmm.
I could look at a tier limit board, right? And I could be like, look, nothing in here says like Omni, right? Except for, like, I don't know, like, I guess Rukalos, if you want to make that argument to a degree.
Oh yeah, Urkos is
But
like a like summon negate, right? But like
yeah,
that was about
it's
it.
it's like their High Wave King Caesar, right?
Yeah.
Like, or High King Wave Caesar, whatever. It's a solemn, but essentially, like, in terms of what you look at when you look at the board, there's nothing on there that really feels oppressive individually card wise, but just the pure power, the fluidity, the consistency, and the fact that you could hand trap it day in, day out, day in, day out. And if you don't see what you need to stop it, or you're not playing the mirror, and you're not well versed in the mirror. Like, there's so many variables that I could apply to this argument, and I know Malice is not tier. It's not tier 0. It's not getting the same amount of tops, etc. But I still think that things can be problematic just because they're not like up there, up there.
No, like I
So
agree. Like everyone hated circular, right? No, like
yeah,
everyone hated circular. Mathmech
yeah,
was not the best deck. Mathmech was nowhere
no,
near the best deck. And like I think that's like a very genuine thing to look at when you're looking at game design. Is it's like
yeah,
or like a healthy format. There are decks that can do unfair things, right? Like a deck is not going to be good if it can't do something unfair.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
that is just how the game works. And like I hate that I have to say it like that, but that's just the game we play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's one of those burdens that, like, your deck has to, like, if every deck played fairly, then either the user behind the deck that was the most skilled would be winning those circumstances, or the deck that had something broken in it but not unfair would be winning. It just comes down to, like, certain things. Like, one thing I want to get into with this ban list is Abyss Dweller. Like,
Yes.
we can go back through so many formats where Abyss Dweller was the game winning deciding card, and it didn't, like, if your deck couldn't make Abyss Dweller in a format that needed Abyss Dweller, you were boned. Like, it was like, oh, I'm playing it against Tearlament. What am I gonna do? I normal summon Rabina. Like,
No.
congrats, GG.
Like there's so many wild times, right? But like
Mm,
before we get into Dweller, there's a lot I can say about Dweller.
yeah,
My issue with
yeah,
Malice is that I don't think there's a way you can like hit it directly without killing it.
yeah. I agree.
The deck is not the most consistent, right? Like
Mm,
if you like limit Dormouse, like that is a significant hit. If you like ban, so in my opinion, right? Like I think the correct hit to do, first of all, the correct hit to do shouldn't even be done now. I'm going to be straight up. I don't
mm,
think there's a hit you can do to it that will not make it still not toxic.
yeah,
I think the way the deck plays inherently is very toxic into other decks. I think it's very funny because it plays really well into itself.
Mhm.
Like watching mirrors of it seems really cool, but like it's so dumb. Personally, like my opinion, like I play Yugioh, right? I own Malice. I think the deck is cool. I haven't played it at anything, and the issue I have is that if you just full combo your opponent, you're winning that game immediately. You have so much follow up. You can do like everything in the game.
Yeah.
The only way you can like realistically hit it is by hitting some of the banished cards around it. Like you can limit Bishops, but as we said beforehand, I don't think that's the issue. You can get rid of their Link 1, the Link decoder, or whatever it is. That when you
Mhm.
summon a Link monster with 2300 attack with it, it comes back. So
Mhm.
it gets rid of a body. Again, I don't think that's the best. Uh, you can ban Gold Sark. That card has been like crazy at random points. That's the best starter in the game for that deck.
It's limited, right? I think.
Yeah, but like if
Pretty
they
sure it's
see it,
limited
they
right
win the
now.
game. Like it's the dumbest
Oh
card.
yeah. Mhm.
But I think the only way you can meaningfully hit it is you hit Whitebinder.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Whitebinder does, it's the most overtuned card I think an archetype has ever gotten. It's like Mathmech circular levels of overtuned, where it's a banish 3, it's a draw when it's banished when it comes back, and it sets a trap card which puts it back into engine.
Is it the Link 3?
Yeah.
2+ monsters, including a Malice, so easy to summon. If this card's special, you can target up 3 cards and any graveyard banish them. It's oh man, what was it?
It's
Shadal Ariel?
it's aerial, it's dancing needle. Like
Set one Malice trap from your
Dancing
yeah.
Needle's so good, by the way, it made Magical Musketeers good for like a format in early 2020.
Mm-hmm. You can special summon it, then you can draw 1 card. Jeez, that's so insane. If
The,
this card is banished, you can pay 900, special summon it, then draw a card.
no, because
Oh
like
my god.
that card is overtuned in a way where I've talked to a lot of Malice players, and their response is that the deck doesn't work without it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I disagree. You have like many different ways you can play that deck without it. However,
Yeah.
this card lets you play the deck in its current form, and it's the most overtuned Malice card. It has 3 different effects that are all kind of crazy. You're telling me it has a Monster Reborn effect on itself that draws you a card?
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me it can rip 3 cards, excuse me, from any graveyard, and then banishing your own cards actually pluses you, and you
Mm-hmm.
can kill the entire Fiendsmith package? You know how many like decks just revolve around a graveyard? So if that card's in
A lot.
rotation, you just yeah, you can special it on your turn. They have a Monster Reborn,
Yeah.
so they are like always ripping.
Not even just I wouldn't even say like decks that revolve around the graveyard. I would say like even just independent interactions, right? Because like I could be wrong here for what I'm about to ask. This is going to be one of those interactions that I don't know, but I'm guessing that based on what you showed me earlier with Eclipse Twins, I'm guessing there's a graveyard interaction there where you go to grab back the material that you can use White Binder and just rip it out of the graveyard to cause it not to go back, right?
Yeah,
So like it corrects Eclipse Twins right away. It's an immediate counter to that card. Like that's nuts to me.
that's one of the reasons why I think the Fiendsmith package fell off. Because like if their Fiendsmith cards are in your graveyard, you can just Malice rip them.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not what you always want to do. You kind of want to like in Malice use that on your own cards. But the fact that you can still plus on your opponent's turn because you did
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
no, that's excuse me. Oh my god, that's not okay. Like that card is
Mhm.
too overtuned. It's like 3 different cards in one.
Yeah, it's nuts. It reads insane. It plays insane. I can already see interactions where it's going to be in counterplay. I guess the here I go play Necro Valley Stun again. Like,
No, like
yeah.
Malice is stupid in a way, right? Where when I read through most of the cards, it's okay. Like let's say I've never seen the cards before, and I am looking at these for the first time, and I read through them all. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. I get the white binder. That's a custom.
Yeah, that's a custom
Konami didn't
card.
make
Like,
that. Someone
plain
made
up
that
made.
up. You literally lied. You're making that up. That's like Sir Yugioh levels of stupid.
I remember when that card came out for the first time and we read it and we were like, dude, this card like it does a million things and it just cycles. It just cycles.
It's a
Like
Pokemon card.
Yeah, it's literally a Pokemon card. It's insane.
No, like that's like what I think the only hit is. I know a lot of people want Griffin banned. There's a lock in the deck where you can just keep like looping Nightmare Griffin,
Mm,
which is that's really good, right?
mm.
My only issue is that Malice wins the game when Whitebinder resolves.
Yeah.
It doesn't win the game when it gets to Griffin. You don't even have to do Griffin. Griffin is the most win more combo I've ever seen the deck do because it doesn't have to do it.
So there was an argument that was had the other day, and again, pardon my lack of intelligence on this matter, but so someone said if you ban X card, then Griffin cannot be looped with one or two cards anymore. I don't remember what card they were referring
We're
to.
talking about Abao,
Maybe
but
that might have been what it was.
but like Abao is weird, right? Where it's like Abao is like okay, Abao is like new, like it just came
Mhm.
out. It's a secret rare. They're not gonna hit it.
Yeah,
It's basically Rescue Rabbit plus our Yugioh, which like sounds crazy, right?
that is insane.
But like when you read it, it's like okay. Like the card is like kind of niche because it gives you like a bunch of draws on the next turn. But the decks that play it aren't gonna get to the next turn anyway because you already win.
Mhm. What's the name of this card?
Sorry, it's Wind Up Rabbit plus Saryuja. It's called Abao. It's like the letter A space BAO.
Oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, like a bow, like the things you eat.
Oh, the Lateless Shadow. I
Yeah.
see. I remember seeing the art for this card.
No, the card's really cool. Like the things that the card can do is nice. Uh, it also like gives Malice a bunch of really nice counterplay because a lot of people play Chaos Hunter to counter this deck. But one of the ways you can counter it is that instead of playing Nightmare Phoenix to go into it, you can go into Nightmare Cerberus, discard to pop whatever they summon, and then go into Abao.
I love how it has like that kind of like mulch army effect at the end where it's like, yeah, you just draw the cards equal to the number of blank, and then you put back cards equal to the number that you drew, and it's like,
Oh, you sculpted your hand.
bro,
Congratulations.
yeah, like cool, yeah, I got a free mulligan off of you. Yeah, that's cool.
It's never happening though. That you are if that card brought back Griffin, you already won the game. But again, I
Yeah.
think like as soon as you resolve Whitebinder, the game's over.
Hmm.
So like that's at least my opinion. There's a lot of new stuff coming out for that deck anyway. But yeah, I just think there needs to be some water hits. I don't think you can really hit Malice now because if you hit Malice now in any meaningful way that fixes the problem,
Hmm.
the deck's gone.
Yeah.
And I personally don't think the deck needs to go. Like, do I think the deck is extremely toxic? Yes. Every event I play against it, I don't have a good time. It's just me
Yeah.
like stopping my opponent from playing. They're like, "Oh man, I can't play the game," and then I sack them into oblivion, right? But that's
Right.
what you have to do against the deck. Like
Man, I love die roll.
you can't meaningfully like play into the deck. There is no play. It's just you watching them do an endless cutscene and jerking off for like 10 minutes, and then
It's
like
just of like when you win like the GTA 5 race and the guy walks around and he's just doing the the emote.
oh yeah. No, that's what it is. Like it's just them like doing that shit the entire time. Like really,
So
come on.
insane, dude.
At an event, come on, don't do that in public. But like it's fucking nuts, right? Where I don't think a deck like that should exist in this game. Like, of course, there's always gonna be like one degen combo deck. Like I played Ubel, like ha 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 ha. But when I played Ubel, that's all Snake Eye did
Yeah.
was degen shit, right? Like
Yep. Absolutely.
the game is in a better spot now, and it just sucks that like the one time we're in like a better spot in the last couple years, like we don't have Tier just jerking off onto the board. We don't have like Snake Eyes doing its thing. No, like Ubel is like kind of died off. You can't enjoy it.
Cash Tira.
Cash Tier was different now.
I mean like to a degree, yeah, but like I'm talking about when like a Rise Heart was around and we were locking boards and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like
there was counterplay to that. There wasn't like all Cash Tier in Top Cut.
okay, I see what you're saying, like in terms of like the health of it. Yeah.
Because
I still
like,
think a Rise Heart can't come back.
oh no, a Rise Heart. Look, I love that card. Like I have it
Yeah.
like back there, right? Like I love that card. Like a Rise Heart's my boy. But I understand that card cannot come back right now. But like,
Yeah.
you do not see me endlessly defending Kashtira like you see people endlessly defending Malice.
Yeah.
Like I have never
Listen.
seen so many people. This is gonna be me standing on my soapbox, and I'm sorry if you're a Malice player, but like you kind of have to hear this. I have never seen so many people ruthlessly defend their deck that it's not toxic. Like I have seen people defend Malice, and it kind of reminds me of like after Tenpai got hit, and everyone was counting on Tenpai players. Like, oh yeah, you're playing this dumb toxic deck. Like, of course it's gonna get hit. Like, I'm sorry, Malice players. That's you now.
Yeah.
Like, is Ryziel
Yeah.
perfect? No, like Ryziel needs hit, right? I'm a Ryziel player, right? I'm admitting
Yeah.
this. You don't really see that too often. Like this discussion comes up so often in so many like groups I'm in. And every Malice player is like, nah, like my deck's not that good. Like it's not the best deck. Like why would you hit it? Dog, we banned circular.
Yeah.
Like circular, no, no, no.
Listen. Listen. Two things. One, gentleman's agreement. Okay. You get back Cashier or Rise Heart, and I get back Oath with Vague Shadow, but errated only for Blackwing monsters.
Oh, you're so
Okay.
right. We're so back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We're so back.
But I can use a Rise Heart in anything, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
It's
okay, okay.
it's generic. Second thing, mouse players. I have one question for you. You might have been able to put me in an unskippable cutscene where I open no hand traps. What color is the soap in the bathroom?
Oh, we're calling Judge. Oh, we're checking your hard drive. We're checking your hard drive as we speak.
What color was Alice's hair? Anyway,
Oh. Ah, shit. Yeah, they're always a little too nice about it. Ooh. But yeah, no, it's. I don't know. That's at least my current opinions. Blue Eyes doesn't need touch. Blue Eyes is actually going to be in a pretty good position, actually, probably post Banlist. Too bad you're also playing like a hand in your deck that you could like draw at any point that you don't want to see.
can we limit Blue Eyes White Dragon? Can we do that?
Oh,
It'd just be funny,
for lore
you know?
reasons?
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
only one. Yeah.
There can only be one. I'm sorry.
There can only be one. On that note, there can be only none because ban that fucking card, ban Gozen, ban Rivalry, ban Skill Drain, ban again Tikaboo, ban anything that says player cannot blank mechanic of the game. Tired of floodgates. I don't care if they're relevant or not. I hate the back and forth discussion on it. I think so. Okay, I've had this really cool discussion, and I've seen a lot of online discussion of this through multiple card games. I'm gonna say this outright
Mhm.
as someone who is now like I have a lot of friends that play Magic casually. I don't know any pros, just putting that out there.
Okay, none of them are playing
Um,
like like modern and going like Magic Con or Magic Fest or whatever they call it.
one of them has like a modern deck for like pro like tournament play. Like it'd be like if I took like Ryziel to a locals, not Ryziel, like yeah, like my skill level currently. If I tried to take Ryziel to like a locals, that's probably kind of what like he would see it as is like he doesn't go to shops or anything. He plays like with like his friends, but he
Oh,
has like
yeah.
one or two competitive decks, you know.
Okay.
Um, but I want to clarify because this discussion has sparked a ton of arguments recently, and it's been an ongoing topic over the span of Yu-Gi-Oh's lifespan. Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon and One Piece and all of that, etc. They are not the same game.
They're
So when you
not.
have a mechanic in one game that says player cannot blank mechanic, it is not as imperative or as toxic or as frustrating as it is in a game like ours, where if you're playing Pendulum and your opponent goes, I have one set card I bricked, let me flip it, it's anti-spell. Now I get to sit on this for 4 turns until I can play the game. You cannot play the game. GG, go next. And then you're like, okay. On that note, actually, no, we're gonna hold off on that. I'm gonna talk about the new Monarch support because I have some takes. Um, but I want to stay centric to the ban list talk though. Um, so like cards that in Magic say don't do blank, I've learned that Magic players very much enjoy, not from like a casual perspective, but from like it generally slows the game down to an equal pace. We have
Oh
cards
yeah,
like that in Yu-Gi-Oh.
like
Yeah,
so, like ward stuff.
Oh, so I couldn't tell you personally. I just know that they have so there's a thread on this on Twitter
Oh,
that
okay,
blew
yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
over like the last. Yeah. Um I don't know the cards specifically. Let me be very clear. I don't know any
Hmm.
Magic cards. I don't play Magic. I just have friends that play. And they will shoot names off to me, but it'd be like if I ask them about Malice cards right now. Like my brain
Okay.
like over my head. Um, but they have relayed to me like if I'm like, here's anti-spell fragments, here's what it does, and they go, oh yeah, we have a card like that, and then I go, here's skill drain, and they go, oh, we have a card like that. But when you reference them to them, I get the same reaction every time. It's like, yeah, it's healthy for the game. It allows a slower pace of play. It allows a contingency plan for the player that is struggling to keep up. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not like that because in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like I normal summon Fossil Dyna, I flip up, you know, summon limit, I activate deck lockdown. GG, like you know. So it's one of those things that I am a firm believer. If we are having a banlist discussion, I will die on this hill. I absolutely agree with this. Ban all floodgates. And in saying that, I'd like to go back to what Gavin was saying about Malice. Um, D shifter gone. Please just ban the card already. Like that card should not have existed to begin with. That card should not exist now. That card should not have existed 2 years ago, and it should not exist after this ban list. I think most of us can agree on that. Then again, I would like to think most of us can agree on Max C, and we fucking can't for whatever reason. That
Hmm.
card needs to also stay banned. Sorry, not sorry to the Yu-Gi-Oh subreddits and all that think that because it's legal in Master Duel that it's okay. Max C can't come back anyway. Sorry, that's my soapbox. Um,
No, like
but yeah,
I think you bring up some good points. Like I think one big difference with like Magic and how some of their floodgates work
mm,
is that some of them have this mechanic where you pay a certain amount of mana, like it puts you on your same pace, right? And you
mm,
can like use card effects, right? So instead of me paying like two, it's like okay, you have to do like an additional thing. Like you have to give life, you have to give like an
yeah,
additional resource. We actually do have cards like that in Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
yeah,
The Mitsurugi deck, like that's what it does. It's like you can discard a card or an effect's negated.
yeah,
I think effects like that are really cool in card games.
hmm
Like
yeah, yeah. It's sick.
the Ice Barrier deck, like their general guy that says every time you like activate a card, you have to discard one. That's a
Mm,
nuts floodgate, right? Like that card's
yeah.
insane. But like the mechanic, the idea of it's like really cool. Um,
hmm
there was another annoying one. Um, the
I'm thinking like Magic Drain. Is Magic Drain one the one that, or maybe it's Spell? It's a trap. It's a counter trap. I think
oh
that
Matt,
says
yeah, 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 the one where it's like you discard and like you can negate the counter trap.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I think stuff like that's so cool.
there's another one, right? Another card that falls into this same category is what's the Despia dragon that like you take 600 whenever you do an action?
Oh, Masquerade.
Yeah, that
Isn't
card,
it Masquerade?
Masquerade.
Masquerade. Yeah.
So that card is like really dumb with time and all
Mm,
that, but like the
yeah.
game states that it can put you in, like it was a win con against certain decks. Like if you have two up
Yeah.
against Flunderies, you win.
hmm
And like there's a lot of like really cool things. Like it had a lot of nice interactions with Sword Soul.
hmm
Because if you played Sword Soul correctly, you could actually kill them under Double Masquerade.
Yeah, you could. It was
Yeah.
insane. It was actually nuts.
But bouncing off that, when you say all floodgates, I want to do, of course, White Man wants to do Devil's Advocate. But I think the really cool way to look at it instead is I think there's certain formats where playing floodgates actually creates better gameplay.
To a degree.
And like,
I get what you're getting at. Yeah.
so what I'm saying, right, is that when I'm playing tier format, when
hmm
I'm playing a Shuzu tier format, I personally, in my heart of hearts, do not like tier mirrors.
hmm
A lot of people, I get in conversation with people about this. A lot of people love that stuff. It was not my thing. I tried. I wanted to play tier. Tier is one of my least favorite decks of all time.
hmm
It is just like kind of It's very interactive, but it basically does this thing that I have an issue with in card games, where there's like an illusion of play,
Yeah.
where like I have the like this happens a lot in like games like Commander, where you feel like, oh yeah, I'm playing cards on the table. I'm playing. No, you're not. Your opponent, like in poker, your opponent has the nuts hand. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what's going on. You are always at a disadvantage. You're always meant to lose this game.
You're gaining like you're gaining resources, but they don't have substance to them. It's
Yeah,
like you're just drawing empty cards with no text on them.
yeah. Like you are playing. Like yeah, you're playing the game. You're not playing the game. It's like a coughing baby hydrogen bomb.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what tier format felt like when you weren't playing tier. Of course, I could have played tier, but that wasn't an option to me. I didn't enjoy it. Like, this is a game after at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I do recognize that a lot of people do enjoy it. I don't. Uh, so, looking into that, I don't think I would have enjoyed tier format if D Shifter did not exist.
Um so I feel like this sparks a very important conversation of
Yeah, no, this is very important.
yeah, is an evil a necessary evil, right?
This is the same thing with the
Um
bestials, right? Like the bestials can be a
yeah.
necessary evil.
Yeah.
Ash Blossom is a necessary evil.
Mhm.
Mulch armies, to be seen, seem like a necessary evil. Maxi is not a
Well,
necessary evil.
well, Ash Blossom is a necessary evil unless you're a branded player, in which case it's just D shifter for your deck. So like, GG's go next,
No, but like that's the same thing, right? It's like Ash
Yeah.
Blossom can just stop branded from playing.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but it can. Droll and Lockbird can also just cripple certain decks. I agree that D Shifter is an awful card at the moment, right? Like I think that
Mhm.
card has overstayed its welcome. I think we are in a universe now where like I don't even think during like tier format D Shifter was like needed, right? Like that was mostly like hyperbole. Like there were different ways you could play. Like I played that Sword Soul deck and Sword Soul had a pretty good matchup in the tier. But there were some times that like tier could just see the god hand. It didn't matter how well you played. Same thing with
My
Flu. It didn't matter how well you played, you were losing that game.
my favorite thing in tier format were the players who were like, "Yeah, so I lost game one. I'll go first against you. You're playing tier," and then they set one. They go past, and they're like, "Tier's like, oh, I'm just gonna run you over," and they start playing, and then the player across the table goes, "Flip Dark Sarcophagus. GG, good luck." I was like,
Yeah.
so
Flips
funny, dude.
flip Soul Drain.
Dude, okay, this is a little off topic, but I want to talk about this. My favorite deck of that format is not one that I think most people are thinking about, and it was that fucking what was it? It was it was that one pendulum deck
Magis.
that
Oh,
yeah,
Draco Slayer.
yeah, and they were just playing Toolbox Good Stuff Don't Play. Like I went to the Detroit Regional in 2022 and I was like I think I was like X1 going into like round like 5 and
Oh, you
I
topped the
played against
locals.
a guy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Well, actually, with the deck that you and I built, I went XO at locals 5 rounds against some of the, anyway. Gavin got second. We topped that locals. It was fun.
Yeah, yeah, we
Um,
topped the locals. Congratulations to us.
yeah, yeah.
We did a
We
great
we
job.
we played, we played a flu mirror at the end of the day, and everyone was mad at us that we beat the whole room.
Our Flumir was great.
So,
If you want to see that deck profile, it's on my channel.
yeah. Our flu mirror was great until we went game 3, and I even I hit you with evenly like 4 times.
Yeah,
Like,
I do not like the Flumir. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think the Flumir is almost more toxic than the Tiermere. But
yeah.
here's what it is.
But this guy, I sat across the table from him, and he kind of smirked at me. He was a little bit cocky. He was a really nice guy though, but he was definitely cocky. And I got my back blown out by like these in-engine floodgates. And then I think I took him to game 3, and he goes, "All right, cool. Activate Zombie World." And I was like, "Oh
He's
my
the goat.
god,
He's the
I
goat.
hate it here." Like, I ended up outing I don't remember how, but I outed the zombie world, and then he activated another one, and I was like, I scooped myself up and I went, "GG, bro, give me your
Oh,
hand."
he wanted it more.
That was such a crazy game, and I think he was one of the only people at that record at that point that was playing that deck. Everybody else in that room was on tier, or they were on like dinosaur and like flu and like But he was just rocking out with the Draco deck, and I'm like, that's crazy.
But
That's insane.
but what's probably
Like,
sad is that he probably didn't win out after that.
Probably not.
No.
So
And
I was a free win. So
but like the issue though is that like I don't know. There's like certain formats where like there's this illusion of play. That format had a lot of it. Like you just kind of like gave the
yeah,
prime example of it. He played this like fuck off combo deck that just does like pendulum
yeah,
stuff, like pendulum
mhm,
swap, and he's gonna cook you. Cook you.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but however, there's a lot of formats where I think like floodgates are the only
mhm,
way that you can like participate against it. Like Goki format, right?
yeah,
They're playing all those like degenerate stuff. Like, how are you going to stop this deck? You don't. You either assimilate or you like have to move on. I think
yeah,
another good example is fire format. Right. There were a lot of like ways fire can just cook, but
mhm.
there was a deck that had like a crazy win rate against pure Snake Eyes.
You gonna say cash?
Well, okay, I did have that crazy cash list. Uh,
Yeah, I was gonna say your list was nuts.
Yeah, for people back home, I don't know if I posted this deck profile or not. I played, so I didn't want to play Fire. I was top 100 online for a while with it. It was really cool, but like I just wasn't a fan really. Like whenever I would enter an online event, I was like fine. I as soon as I went in paper with it, I just couldn't win. I could not top a locals with Fire. I did not top a locals with Fire. I don't think I won a locals with Fire actually until the ban list, like dead ass. The day that original Sinful Spoilers got banned, I was at locals and it banned it. That was the first and only
That's
time I
insane.
won with Fire. Was a
That's
5 round
insane.
locals. I was top 100 online. There's
Mhm.
no shot. And like there's so many like other random things like that too. And but anyway, it was stun.
Mhm.
It was that stun deck, that Runic stun deck. And Runic Stun was in a really good position, right? Because people hate that deck. Like, again, the deck was not the best.
Mhm.
And there wasn't this argument where it's like, oh, like, it doesn't need ban. It's not the best deck. What do you mean? I had triple rivalry. I had triple Gozen. I had triple TC Boo. But the idea is that you just don't let your opponent play. Like,
Mhm.
the best way to beat Fire was to make sure they couldn't do anything.
Right.
And when you look at the meta, is that deck toxic? Yeah. Is it more toxic than what Fire does? No,
No.
absolutely not. And I think
Yeah.
that's the way people have to look at it. Like, is when I'm playing this deck, is it more toxic than the end board the deck actually makes?
Mhm.
No, absolutely not.
So I think you made a really good metaphor, specifically citing like illusion of play, because you're right. At the end of the day, I think I would rather stare down set for normal summon Barrier Statue stun versus someone that normal summons Snake Eye Ash, because I'm like now I feel like I'm playing, even if their board isn't like because like obviously like Apo's banned now, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
let's say like not even the Apo board. Let's say like it was like the link bodies and then the extra, level ones and stuff like that. It's like it might look like I'm walking into a board that has nothing on it, but it's just like tier. Just because the cards don't say you can't interact doesn't mean they don't cause you to not interact. And it's one of those things that, like, playing against fire was so frustrating for the short time that I played against it. And watching people play against it that knew what they were doing was even more frustrating because it felt like no matter what you did, no matter what avenue you went through, no matter how many times you hand trapped it, no matter what ways that you counterplayed or tried to stop it, it just had its foot on the gas pedal. And that deck was insane. I'm so surprised that like we got a deck like Ubel that walked over it for that period of time.
But
You
like
know,
the issue though is that Ubel didn't walk over it.
you don't think so?
It did the same thing with a different coat of paint.
Well, okay, so it did. It did. You're
It's
right.
just the
Yeah, I'm
same
not.
deck.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not.
Corporate
So
is
I'm not trying
asking
to
you
like
to find
glorify.
the difference between these two
Yeah.
pictures. It's the same picture. Like, I'm sorry, it just is what it is. You choose your
So
flavor of combo.
so here's your wallet. It has your government ID in it, so it must be your wallet, right? No, it's not mine. It's Ubel's. Like, yeah, so you're right. It was the same idea, same issue, same toxicity. But what I'm getting at is like it was so weird to see them both exist at the same time
Hmm.
that they like, and it was almost like for a while there, Ubel just started winning more than Snake Eye did. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like as the format evolved, it just seemed like I believe it was the world's winner was Ruben, right?
Hmm.
and like he even was like, they played Snake Eyes, and they were like, when he talks about how they tested, he was like, every time that we played against Ubel in our friend group, or sorry, our testing group, he was like, no matter what happened, no matter what we did, um, the people who were playing Ubel, I can't remember who he said it was that he tested against, but he was like, he would start a hand, and he'd be like, nah, this hand's too broken for you, I'm gonna shuffle it, put it back, get another hand. No, this hand's too broken for you. I'm gonna put this one back. And it got to the point where like they were playing against like 2 to 3 card hands. I want to say that's what he said. And then it was like he was like it just didn't matter. And then we were at the airport, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm playing Ubel. And then he won Worlds with that slight change of deck. Was just like, dude walked in, went Snake Eyes. Nah, I don't want to play with you anymore. Yeet. And then picked up Ubel and just walked, just dominated. I mean,
No, like
and it was insane.
the things that Ubel could do was stupid.
Mhm.
Like I remember there was the remote YCS, right? It's a remote YCS, so like not a lot going on. But
Yeah.
I made it to the last round. I was X2. The
Mhm.
only people I lost to was the guy who got first after Swiss and Shun Ping.
Yeah.
So like my losses were like really good. I played my last round. It's against Tenpai.
Mhm.
And I played this 50 card pile. This deck was crazy. It was like I played cash cards, I played a bunch of hand traps, and I played the Ubel package. And the entire idea was that the Ubel, the cash cards got you into Fiendsmith,
Mhm.
and like Fenrir was a house, and Unicorn was a house, and like it was just piled that deck. My opponent de-shifted me 4 times.
I remember this story. I remember calling you and being like, "Hey, so how was it?" And you were like, "Yeah, I got D-shifter 4 times in this set." Like,
Well, the thing was, like, I actually could have 2-0'd him.
mm,
There was a line I had game 2 that if I was not as tilted getting hit with the third shifter, I would have top 32. I would have like or top 16, 1 to 2. But I didn't see it because well, I saw the line, but it also lost to any hand trap.
yeah,
To this day, I don't know if he had it, but like it would have been smarter for me to play that way
it
because
happened.
I think the thing, and the reason I'm saying this is because the thing that makes Ubel so different from Snake Eyes
Mhm.
was the fact that Phantom of Ubel exists.
Yeah,
And Phantom of Ubel just lets you play under shifter.
the card is so insane.
You
Card
could
is written so insane.
you could sit on it.
Yeah,
They can't beat over it. What are they gonna do?
nothing.
Can't beat it from a
Literally
battle.
nothing.
You could throw it in attack position, and if you have up the pain, nightmare pain, ooh,
Mhm.
they're dying. They died.
Yeah.
They have to attack into it. They're dead. So like I don't know. Like that format was really weird, but
Yeah.
I think like when you get decks like that, I
Mhm.
think there becomes an excusable reason to play floodgates. It's the same thing with like Abyss Dweller, right?
Yeah.
Because I think Abyss Dweller is a very weird card. Like when you look back at historical formats, I don't think like because Abyss Dweller was good for a while, but I don't think Abyss Dweller
Yeah.
became like nuts until like Orcust Salad format.
That format, it put in work, and there was another so I could be getting my text mixed up here. So there was a card that Danger Thunder specifically could play called
Sanafon.
Santaphon the Sky Prison. And I'm pretty sure that card was just rank 8 Dweller, right? This card, neither player can special summon monsters from the graveyard. So not necessarily Dweller, but it was technically Necro Valley on legs, right?
Yeah.
So that card was a crazy tech. And so like when that was implemented, everyone looked back and we were like, Dweller's just crazy. Like Orcus is doing all this grave movement, Salad's doing all this grave movement, Danger Thunder is doing all this grave movement. Like, how do we, stop this from happening with such a diverse format of 4 or 5 top decks? And then I think there was a period, I always get this mixed up. So Gavin, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure after that format, that was either after the format I'm about to mention or it was before, and this one was at the end of the year. There's a format where Danger PK, like FTK, was a big thing. And so
Oh.
that was like another big thing that we were like, how, like there's so much grave activity here. How do we stop this wall of, World War Z zombies climbing up over the 300-foot wall from the fucking graveyard? It's like we need something like Dweller, and that was where that came from, right?
Mhm.
And when you look back at 2019, those megatins changed the game for the world premiere promos. I mean, because there were three big ones. It was Dark Ruler No More, it was Nibiru the Primal Being, and it was Dimension Shifter. And at the time we were all like, man, Nib is crazy against these combo decks. Man, Dark Ruler No More is crazy against these combo decks. And I remember for the first like week, 2 weeks, everyone was like, yeah, D Shifter's kind of cool. Like it's there. And then when it really broke out, everyone was like, God, this card is such a problem, dude. Like
And it's like
it's just insane.
it's so weird that like looking back at it, the worst one to come out in that set, the one that no one realized is going to be broken with D Shifter, because
Yeah,
no deck
absolutely.
could like use it yet because you couldn't
Yeah.
use it because people like okay, looking back at it, right?
Mhm.
Toss format is so weird. So the format library defines Toss as the format after Nats.
Mhm.
I don't agree with that, obviously. Like you and I have talked about this. I think like the first time I heard someone call it Toss format was probably around like Nats.
Mhm.
Because we already had those decks for like long enough for a little bit. Like we had Sky
Yeah.
Striker for like over a year already. We had Thunder Dragon for a minute. Orcus was being played because Orcus actually came out in the same set as Thunder Dragon.
Yeah.
But like the issue that I have with calling Toss the format after is because that format is trash. You have Nib, you have Dark Ruler. So all these decks are trying to figure out how to play around Nib. And
Mhm.
the deck that figured it out was the Lunoid Orcus deck.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that deck was crazy.
And some
Yeah.
people like to. So whenever I tell people I have toss decks, the first thing that my friends try to do, they're like, "Oh, I love Lunalite Orchest." Do you? Do you love summoning Azathoth?
Oh
Do you?
man.
That's fun to you? You want to summon Azathoth and then do an entire Orchest combo and then end on Dweller? So you're telling
Uh,
me, and like people, there's that Sky Striker Orchest deck. There's a Cyber Dragon Orchest. There's a lot of really weird stuff that format, and that toss that they have just like designated as toss.
mhm.
If you're trying to like play meta, the only thing you can really do is play Orcus to top consistently, because like you can't play Thunder Dragon because Thunder Dragon loses to Orcus. You can play the Sky Striker Draco deck, or you can just play the Floodgate Striker deck with like Demise and stuff.
Yeah.
But then crazy, those both lose to Colossus.
Yep.
So like if you're looking at it from a historical format perspective, it's solved. Like you can go back
Yeah.
to it, but like no, you can play Salad, but crazy. There's Nib and there's Dweller.
And we didn't have access code yet at all.
We did not have access code. No, but there was the
The
transcode talker stuff.
So I think transcode was around, but we were, because you and I were talking about this the other day. Because I didn't realize at the time when I looked back at the format, I was like, oh shit, we didn't have access. We played fusion beats, so we played that big fusion monster to get
Some
around
people
people
did,
that
yeah,
just hit for, yeah. Um,
like Fusion of
so
Fire.
yes, yeah, fusion of fire. Thank you. So we played. Jog my memory for a second. When we played at South Park, was that before or after Nats?
Oh, which time?
I only went the one time with you guys, so I
Oh,
don't. It's
so you and I went early 2019. So you and
Yeah.
I actually went the weekend the Salad Structure Deck dropped.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely
And
right. Yeah.
everyone and their mom was on Salad. I wish. So I was playing Geist. I wish I
Mhm.
knew like how that deck functioned a little more, because I
Yeah.
actually think Ultra Geist was a great call into that deck.
Yeah. So I. It's funny you bring up trap decks. I played Draco at that locals, not locals, regional. I don't know why I said locals.
Yeah, didn't you do
I
really bad?
Pretty sure that was a regional. Bro, I was bad up until like 2021. So like, by all
No.
means, cook me, dude. Uh, but I will never forget. I might have been dog shit, but I will tell you this, right? At that regional, I don't know if you remember, there was a guy round 2 or 3 playing. He was playing Guard Dragon. I'm pretty sure it was Guard Dragon. What the warriors that like spam themselves to the field. Why can't I remember their name? They had a they had a Link 3. That's a guy on a horse that hits really hard that does piercing.
Gaia?
Um,
Oh,
no,
Crusadia Guard Dragon. That was like the big.
yes,
That was the
yeah.
main way people played it for the longest time. Yeah.
So he was playing Crusadia Guard Dragon, but he was playing like more into the Crusadia stuff. And I'll never forget because I was playing Draco. I went second, and he set up a board. It was Crystal Wing, Nat Beast, Barkion, set card, some other thing. And we didn't, because it was early 2019, we didn't have the world promos yet. I broke his board with Draco. I got him down to literally just Crystal Wing, set Apocalypse, summon one of the Draco monsters, Apocalypse effect, pop the Crystal Wing. Dude scooped his deck up, went, I don't know why I even play this shit anymore. And then he left the regional. I will never forget breaking a combo player's board with True Draco going second and making that dude quit the regional. That was a highlight, bro. To that guy, if you're still out there playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I bet you're a mouse player now. 100%. I'm so sorry. I radicalized you so hard against trap cards, dude. I'm sorry.
You red pilled him, bro.
Yeah, bro. I turned him into the purple pill Andrew Tate, bro. Anyway,
Dude, no.
um,
There was actually. It's really funny you say that. I went to a South Park. Oh God, later that year. I think it was December that year,
yeah, it
where
was definitely later.
I didn't have my invite because I was 19, 20. Instead of me going to regionals after Nats, my friends and I would all like prep, like, oh, I can't wait to go to this regional the next day. And then
Yeah,
we'd go to the frats the night before. So instead, we
yeah,
just wouldn't go to the regional. So
yeah.
we ended up going to one, right? Which is like, it's really sad because I actually think I would have done really well at those regionals. Like, I was like doing really well at like locals and like
Mhm.
online at the time. But,
Yeah.
priorities. Uh, I remember, look, I remember those parties a lot more and I like to enjoy those regionals.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the South Park I did go to, I remember, I forget how I actually did, but I ended up going into the last round, and if I won, I got my invite.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, I did. Uh, I played against a guy, and he was on Draco, and I was on Altergeist. This is toss format. This is like peak Sky Striker Orcus. Like, and I'm playing
I
through all these guys.
love I love this matchup so much. It's so funny, dude.
It's so bad for me.
Oh, man.
It's so
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
for me. And like
So funny, dude.
game one, I think he game one I cook him because I like secret village him. Game two, he cooks me. We go into game three. I open up 3 judgments like a multi faker
Yeah.
or something. It was like a nuts hand. I can't lose this. So like I set up my board. I pass. He keeps trying to play. I judgment him like 3 times or something. It was like a dumb amount. And then he goes last card demise, and I ash it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, do you want the win, man? I'm like, what do you mean by that? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that? What do you mean? I just,
Do you
I,
want to win?
I just cooked you. You don't have any cards in hand. You don't have any cards on field. Your entire thing's in the grave. What do you mean?
It's so fucked.
What do you mean? He's like, I was gonna give you the win anyway. It's like, you're cooked, bro.
That's so insane.
There's
Bro,
no
okay.
way.
So during 2019 format, shout out Gavin for being a real one. I love telling this story once every blue moon if it ever comes up. Now I can talk about it. We were playing at this locals that we used to go to. I don't believe it's around anymore. So I think I can say the name of it. It was like Taz's Game Shop or Taz's Game Store or whatever.
Oh, yeah, in
Um,
Alliance, yeah.
yeah. And I don't believe it's around anymore, but we used to go there like every couple weeks when we'd play at locals. Dude, I again in 2019, all fair transparency, I did not know what I was doing. Like I just could not grasp this game to save my life. I was still new to like interactions and stuff. And Gavin tried his hardest to mentor me through that. And then there's me, who doesn't know what I'm doing, playing max rarity Danger Thunder Dragon, and literally just did not know what he was doing. Well, I'm at this game shop, and like my big thing back then was I would read cards and I would study my deck interactions, but I just wouldn't study other decks. So I was like, I didn't know what I was playing against. So we were playing this one weekend, and dude, there were like what, 6 of us that were playing, and I got paired against this guy who's on Geist, and Gavin's playing like, so the guy's like in front of me, and Gavin's like sitting behind him. There were only like 6 of us playing at this like locals this weekend.
Yeah, there
So
wasn't a
like,
lot. There was like no one there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like me, you, another guy that I think came with us or met us there, this guy, and like 2 other guys, and that was like it. Like it was like, so we were all just in this little square just playing. So and, like, it was intimate, and that's important because this guy was like, he was a little louder, and I think he declared like Silk Effect, and he made an illegal play, and Gavin leans back and goes, "Hey, can't do that." And then Gavin just leans back over, and the guy goes, "Well, I didn't know we were coaching now." And I was like, dude, just shut the fuck up and play. And he just got up and just left. And Gavin was like, damn, dude really didn't know what his cards did. And then Gavin just went back to playing and 2-0'd everyone at that locals. It was so funny, dude.
Bro, it was just like, why? Like, okay, first of all, I know you just admitted to like having the Danger Thunder deck, right? Like max rarity.
Yeah,
But like, I'm a big proponent of don't own the cards if you don't know what they do.
correct.
And look, the guy had like, he definitely had the farmer cut going on. Man definitely had a room temperature IQ. Like, there's no shot. Like, look, dude, if you don't know how to play Altergeist, I don't think you should be playing this game to begin with. There are certain decks where like if you can't play it, like look, dude, you're a lost cause.
So, dude, I got so tilted at that locals because I remember building a board against you, and you looked at me and you went, okay. Or no, it wasn't you. It was Chandler. Chandler was there with
Oh,
us.
he's the goat.
And
He's the goat.
yeah, him and I played against each other, and he was on Draco, and we went to game 3, and I'm pretty sure he won. Um, but he sphere moded me like 3 times, and I got so mad because every time I was like, God, please just let me beat him with this board, and every time I'd be like, all right, cool, Colossus, Crystal Wing, something else. I was making Crystal Wing against Draco, if that tells you anything, which like you could argue like, oh yeah, you could use it against like the monsters or whatever, but more often than not, you're usually like chain blocking it with one of the traps engraved to pop something or whatever. Um, and so like I got sphere moded like 4 times or 3 times in that 3 game set, and every time I was like, I just kept playing into it, and Gavin had already told me like 17 times, listen, you don't need to put 3 bodies down every single time you do this. Just end on like Colossus and interrupt and hold your hand, and then I would summon 3, and Chandler would smirk, look at me, ball, like, damn it.
Dude, it's like, look, okay, you're playing against God's favorite.
Yeah.
He wanted
Yep.
more. He is God's strongest soldier. Like, it is what it is. That's just who he is. That's just always what he has, bro. He always has to strap on his helmet.
Playing against him is always fun. I miss playing against Chandler.
Dude,
He's so cool.
every event he's getting top.
That's insane.
In this world, is top or be topped.
Yeah. So in bringing up Toss format though, I would like to segue it back for us to the ban list. So I think we've added enough context where we could probably lightning round. Do you want to do predictions or do you want to do personal ones, or we can do both? I'm down for either.
Like, dead ass. Like, I think, like, the ban list could be, like, pretty simple. Like, if I'm telling you what I think needs to be banned, it's probably Moon Glacier.
Yeah.
Toad.
Yep.
Honestly, there's even an argument for Bahamut Shark. But, like...
I've heard that.
But probably Toad. In a perfect world, I think White Binder is going to be on the ban list at some point. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the time is now. I think they're going to limit some, like, Bonfire. They might limit, like, Ice or X. If they limit Bonfire, it makes you buy Tachyon.
Yeah. Yep.
But, like, it is what it is. I think they should ban Necroquip or DDD.
Yeah.
Maybe ban Minstrel. I think in a perfect universe, like Dragoons is like limited.
Yes, yeah,
But
that's a good one
like
actually. I agree
Dragoons
with that.
has to be gone. I think
Yeah.
the fact that that card is not a once per turn puts the deck in a position where it is never down on card advantage. But like
So,
I
are
don't
we banning Nephthys?
I think Nephthybis is a problem, but I don't think it's like the problem.
Yeah,
Because I
that's
think
fair.
the issue with water is that you can't hit it anywhere. Like there's nowhere meaningfully to hit it, right? And hitting Neptibus just kind of murders the deck. Like, do I think the deck is unhealthy and doesn't need to be around? Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Mhm.
That deck is stupid.
Yeah,
But I don't think there is a universe where that card is the problem. I think it's poorly designed, but I don't think it's like the issue.
yeah.
I think like the issue is Dragoons. I
Mhm.
like it has infinite searchability. Moon Glacia is too good. The deck is more overtuned now than it was when it initially came out.
Mhm.
I think if you hit like Toad, Moon Glacia, Minstrel, or Dragoons, it doesn't have to be all three, but
Mhm.
multiple have to be hit.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like there has to be like a big hit to it. Not
There's no
saying
like singular hit that you can just take to it.
there's not just one. Well,
Mhm.
there is. There's one thing you can do that stops the deck from being what it is, and it's murdering Dragoons.
Yeah, Ban Dragoons would be a heavy hit.
But
Yeah,
like, I think that's I think that's too much because then the deck loses its identity.
it's like Fiend Smith,
Yeah,
honestly.
but like, I don't know. Like, there's an answer somewhere. I think
Mhm.
banning Dragoons or hitting Dragoons is probably the answer. I don't think that's
Mhm.
correct, but like, I don't know. And then like, yeah, because then what do we have? We have like the Necroquip or DDD. You have the Water
Yep.
hit. You have Malice. You got Ryziel hit. I don't think anything else really needs hit.
So
And in my perfect world, Metal Tronus is banned, but that's just me. I think Metal Tronus will be bannable at some point. I think that card's stupid. E-Telly that says targeting interruption. That's insane.
can we also talk about the fact that Metaltronus just feels like a better, like maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but like reading the card and seeing it in play just feels like it's a better application form of Ultimate Slayer.
They're the
It
same
just
card.
feels,
Yeah.
yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. Um,
You can use Metal Tronus as an E-Telly so that you always have more engine.
yeah,
If
it's insane.
if you're playing a mirror, you have infinite ways to beat the mirror. Which like
Yeah.
it's cool, but it's like it's the same thing as crossout designator. It's like, do we really need that card?
Yeah.
Is this really
Um,
okay?
how do you, this is a dumb question, but this is just like a observation thing. How do you feel about Chandra right now?
Like Tenpai?
Like, okay, obviously Tenpai on its own is not good unless we're talking about like I think Master Duel maybe. Um
Like it's
but
fine.
like
Like you can play it. Like it's playable.
yeah,
Like
like people are splashing it like into like Blue Eyes or they're splashing it into like Dragon Link or like they're just using Chandra to get into like a lot of stuff. But there's always the argument that like Tenpai could come back, I guess. Is
no,
there no, never.
no, no.
Not okay. Okay, hold on. Not me saying that it should come back. I'm saying if they were to for any reason at all unlimit, unban, etc. Do you think at that point you just slam the red button and you ban Chandra?
I think if you ban Chandra, deck doesn't work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it
No,
loses
I
its
know. Yeah,
identity. Oh, I
yeah.
mean,
Good,
like
good,
shit. You're
good,
right. You're
good,
right. Yeah.
good,
You know
good.
what? Okay, we're
Listen,
on the same page. Okay, yeah, yeah.
listen, listen. Malice players, I know I said that you don't know where the soap is, right? At least you shower. Tenpai players.
Have you seen? You have not been in the area for so long. So like, I used to play this game at an event where I would play spot the Tenpai player.
Oh
Whenever I
no,
sat
man.
across from my opponent, I did a simple test. It worked every time. I'm not telling you what it is. I am not saying what it is, but I'm just saying it worked every time.
Oh no, I know what the test was. The test was asking them where's the nearest men's bathroom.
That's actually not it. I'm not telling you till the cast is over, but I promise you there was a test I always did,
Oh
and
man,
it worked every single
jeez,
time. Like yeah,
that's so funny. Um, All right, I guess I'll rattle off some of my hot takes since I haven't played the game in two and a third years. So I agree with all of your hits. I think ban Eclipse Twins. Uh I think you limit Dragoons. I think you ban Moling Glacia. I think you ban White Binder. I think you ban D Shifter. I think you could make an argument for ban Lancia, but I don't think Lancia is so oppressive that it needs to go right now. And I think it is one of those few like lingering floodgates that like has the identity that it's a natural like evil to certain things, for sure. Sorry, dinosaur players, your Misk is not going to see another day. Anyway,
I mean,
um,
I personally think Misk should come to 3, but that's me.
is Misk not at? Am I tripping? Is Misk not at 3 right now?
No, Misk's at 1.
Bro, unlimit Misk. Did you?
Like the card is
Come
stupid.
on,
Like
man.
I'm gonna be real though, when I'm playing against dinosaurs, the cards I'm thinking least about are the dinosaur cards on their field.
Yeah, honestly.
Like that's always been my issue when people are playing against it. They're like, "Oh, like Misk is so stupid." Are you trying to hand trap Oviraptor?
Right.
It's like, huh? Like they can make something later, and then they go into the scrap stuff. Like, oh, you could have held your imperm for that. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, you're telling me you could have played around this the entire time? That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, like that being
Um,
said, it's stupid, right? It is a stupid card, but like
yeah.
I don't know if Snake Eye Ash can be at 1.
So let me look at this list real quick. Bro, why did I know I didn't exit out of it. Okay. So just off tops, unban Agito, unban Scythe, unban Wind Barriers. No, okay. All right.
Well, this has been a
Forever
fun podcast.
and I am barred from the podcast from here on out.
I'm never speaking to you again. You're in my dungeon.
Yeah. Not the dungeon. Um. Okay. All right. We're just gonna ask the fucking question. Are you bringing Kit Close back? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Glad that you're staying. Bro, look. I love Farfa, but I swear to God, if I hear another unbanned Block Dragon or unbanned Kit Close, I'm gonna crash out.
But like,
Like,
there's people who don't understand that like those cards. Like, okay, there are certain cards when they come back, right? They're not problems. And then there's certain cards when they come back, you're like, man, this card's still really good. Like that's what Shadal Construct was. Remember when Shadal Construct come back and then it just immediately was like good again?
yeah,
Like there's certain cards
yeah,
like that, and that's not me saying that Shadal Construct is Kit Colors.
yeah.
Why does Kit Colors say like Mill 5?
Kiklo says mill 5. It says search or send. It's, you know what? I meant to say this earlier. Can we talk about the fact that every fucking extra deck card that says send one from your deck to the graveyard is broken every time and they continue to print them?
And like, there's like a bunch of weird things, right? Like when you look at tier on Master Duel, they have Murley banned.
Didn't know that. That's wild.
Murley's banned, but Kit Close is at 1. They can't even use 3 fusion effects in a turn.
Come on now.
Like, which one would you rather? Like, there's a reason they did that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not me saying that. Like, tier is still like kind of good here. Like, there's still a lot of things you can do. Like, you can like get an invite with tier for sure. But like,
For sure.
there's certain times I look at it, I'm like, really? Like, people want this card back? Like, this is degen. Like, okay, we all have bad opinions, right? Like, it's okay to be wrong. You just don't have to be so loud about it.
Yeah, like, unban a Pointer of the Red Lotus. Anyway.
I'm gonna thrust for it.
Let's see. So, yeah, Kiklos can't come back. I'm sorry. That shit's staying banned. Hulk is never coming back. Cards stay banned. Curious not coming back. Nope. Agarpain never coming back. LP will never see the light of day ever again.
LP has the same issue that Magmut has, where why does it have to say any dragon?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, honestly.
Like, come on. Like, that's a little too stupid.
How do you feel about Electromite?
Electromite is like one of those cards that will always get better. Where like it doesn't matter if that card comes to like 3 or not. That card
Mhm.
will always be better now than it was back in the day.
I agree. Absolutely.
And the biggest issue I have with Electromite, one, the lack of like once per turns.
Hmm.
So it just causes all these loops.
Yeah.
And the fact that like it turned every pendulum deck into the same deck.
Hmm.
It's like the same issue that Hulk and Isolde had, where every deck that played them just kind of developed into the same thing after you do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, why did you even do that?
We also can't have Hulk back because of the I don't want to get too much into new cards, but the new Yummy deck
Mm-hmm.
just never. No, Hulk just cannot come back.
No, there's like a bunch of
Uh,
things that like come out and people are like, oh, this card can come back now. No, Isolde
yeah.
was like, Isolde was not played for the longest time, right?
Mhm.
Like, but there would be times where Isolde would be in a deck. You're like, oh, why is this card still around?
Yeah.
The Rongo deck, the Goki deck, the Infernoble deck. Like every time Isolde showed up, you're like, really? Like this card still exists? I had a friend who quit the game for the longest time and then came back. And like, this card's still legal because it was
Yeah.
always a common denominator. Like no, like you can't do that. The game will just develop into the same thing. It's the same thing with like Apple Baron and all those cards. Like I love them. Like I think they're cool, but like everything devolves into the same slob after a while, and that's the issue with Electromite.
So I want to do a quick lightning round, basically. So we can go over like the main decks like Malice, Rizio, Water, and then I want to hit some tiny stuff. But so like we'll leave the obvious stuff out, like floodgates and all that sort of D shifter and all that. So for the decks though, so we went over like Moulin Glacia, Toad, maybe Bahamut, limit Dragoons. Um, you could limit Engraver for Fiendsmith if you wanted to hit it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ban Eclipse Twins, Ban Metaltronus. Um,
Like I don't even think like Eclipse Twins and Metaltronus like need banned. Like I think
they
like
don't need ban,
in
no.
a correct universe, in my opinion,
Mhm.
Eclipse Twins it probably doesn't exist. But like
Yeah, I agree.
I can see that card doing cool things. I can also see it doing a bunch of unhealthy things. Same thing with
Mhm.
Metaltronus. Actually, no. Metaltronus, I don't think, in my opinion, is a very healthy card. Like,
Yeah,
it's better E-Telly that is removal. Like, that card is,
yeah.
like, toxic. And people can, like, target your deck. It's like Ghost Reaper, but, like,
Hmm.
in a really weird, toxic way.
Yeah. So I had a couple things I wanted to go over, just some short stuff, but I think some interesting stuff. It looks like we did last list get all of the dragon rulers off, which is thank God. It's been 84 years. Um, so I want to talk about some mini things real quick. Let's get the uninteresting stuff out of the way. So my unlimits. I don't know how you feel about this. I think we can bring back Dryden. I don't think it. I don't think it. I mean, Detonator exists. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
like, Dryden's weird. Like, that was the
Yeah.
one thing I was thinking about when Detonator came out. I think the
Yeah.
only difference is that you can't proc your own Detonator.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that comes to my mind. But there's so many cards that exist that say pop your own card.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's like,
Um.
is Dryden that bad for that? Like
Right.
I don't think so. I think that card can come back. Honestly, like
Mm.
I think the really untoxic, well, the really crazy things that Zoo could do doesn't really exist anymore.
No, not at all.
Or if it does, it's like
Um.
not that good. Like it's good. Like don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but like it's not like Tri Brigade Zoo.
Yeah. I still have Broad Bull Band. I mean, it's maybe we can bring it back. Maybe we can't. It's kind of a hard one for me.
That card's like too
So
generic.
yeah,
Like
yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Like I think like we have a card that says search any pyro, right? Why can't we have
Yeah,
a rank 4 that says search any beast warrior beast? I don't know,
yeah,
right? Like
mhm.
we knew what the repercussions were of that because of the Norden loops, but I think Norden was the issue there.
Yeah. Norden
So
absolutely was the issue.
I don't know.
Um, so the other unlimits I have are if any dangers on the list, take them off. I mean, like, if you want to argue consistent engine, like I don't think Dangers are all that consistent. I don't think they do too much terrible stuff. I get it. They all draw one. They're all bodies, but like you could make the argument about Fiend Smith being as consistent as it is and what it does. I think Dangers can come off the list.
Well,
Um,
like dangers are
that,
weird too, right? Or sorry to cut you off,
mhm.
but
No,
like
you're good.
upstarts at 3.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
even though dangers are that plus a body, I think the one
Mhm.
thing that people don't understand when they look at old formats was that the
Mhm.
reason why people played dangers and the reason why people played like upstarts was that there weren't
Mhm.
40 good cards you could throw in a deck.
Correct. Yeah.
I played 50 in U-Bell because there were 50 cards I wanted in my deck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
the diminishing returns weren't really there. Like,
It was also like we played Dangers because discard fodder was crazy, right? Like discarding like an Eclipse Wyvern or discarding like um I think like why am I blanking here? Discarding any fucking Thunder Dragon, discarding any PK just felt so
discarding
good,
Oja
right?
Magic.
Discard what?
Oja Magic.
Oja Magic,
You could do it.
insane tech,
You could do it.
insane.
Ojama Guard Dragon to her. Like,
Yeah. Um, I think these next few are pretty self-explanatory. Um, I had Lightning Storm back to 3 from 2. I had Eva back to 3 from 2.
yeah.
I mean, they don't need to be at 2, either 3 or none. Um, Purely Delicious and Sleepy Memory, they're both at 2. I think you could bring them back to 3 and it'd be fine.
I don't know. Like, Pearly's weird, where it's like
Yeah.
semi limiting them actually affects how the deck plays.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm neglecting to think about that.
But
That's a good
like,
point. I forgot
does
they had
that
multiple.
does that change anything? Like, does that
Mm,
make Pearly good?
yeah,
Like,
that's the
I personally don't think the deck Pearly is like very healthy. But
yeah.
like, again, YCS Philly was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, right? Like
Like,
it feels insane to think about.
yeah, like I think those cards can come back. Like, they don't
Mhm.
do much.
Well, also, I think if the difference in the deck being oppressive versus the deck doing nothing is giving them a third copy of two of their spells, it's like at that point you just get rid of the towers, right? The what was it, the Noir?
Look. It's
Like,
been two
yeah,
years. We didn't ban it back then. We're not banning it now. Like, trust me, I agree. I think
yeah,
Noir is stupid, but like,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm not saying so. I'm not saying like I'm for banning it. Just if it's a problem, if it's like an actual problem, then you ban it. But like
Mm-hmm.
I think they can have both the three. It should be fine. Um, Runic Fountain from 2 to 3, I don't think is a big deal. Like,
I never understood. Like, I get why that card's at 2. But the
yeah,
crazy thing is, decks were playing 2 before that card got semi limited.
yeah, like it's yeah. Let Runic Whitewood live. Like,
Yeah, like,
um,
I don't get it. I don't even think they'd play 3.
no, I don't think so
No.
either. The last thing I had on my list, and maybe I'm coping here, but like, listen, dude, they have an unbanned masterpiece. Give me back Draconic Diagram to 3. God damn it, give
Dude,
me back my field spell.
you're foolish to think Dragonic Diagram being at 1 was a Draco hit.
Am I missing? Well, okay. Like even without knowing, even without thinking about the context, obviously it's not a Draco hit. Like but
Dog, we're popping
I
baby.
oh, I forgot that. I forgot that was a fucking thing.
Like, that was the hit. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't just like, okay, is that good in 2025? No. Like,
I don't think it is. Yeah,
can't can Dragonic Diagram plus baby do cold fusion? Yes.
yeah,
Can normal summoning Goblin Biker Doug do cold fusion? Yes. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm
yeah.
not playing babies in my deck to do that.
Hmm.
Like, I think they can come to 3. Like, I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't truly think that card got hit for Draco.
No, it didn't get hit for Draco. I'm stuff goes over my head, so
Look, dog,
um,
that deck was dumb.
yeah. Yeah, that deck. I still remember the what was it? So you used diagram, and then you could you guys played like Barastos and Agnimazut, I think was the other one, the fire and the water, and then you could do kind of like True King Dino combos,
Yeah, so what you
right?
would do is that you would diagram pop baby, add
Hmm.
with Dosagen,
I forgot about that. Fucking Lithosa Gym, dude. That card's insane.
That's one of the dumbest cards. Like that card was banned, right? Or was that card at one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was banned. Let me look it up here.
There was like a dumb thing with that card where it was like at random numbers. Or maybe there was like no reason. I don't know. I forget what that card was at. I just remember I'm like, wow. I think it was banned.
It's the True King card, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty
Um,
sure it's at three now.
it is. It is at 3 now. Yeah, it was banned, and then when it became unbanned, everyone freaked the fuck out that it got unbanned because it was like doing crazy combos and shit.
Yeah, like it's a combo enabler. Like it says, look at your
Yeah.
opponent's extra deck, take 3 cards.
Yeah, which like on that note, actually, glad that you specified that part of Lithosa Jim's text because so like everyone keeps saying it, and I'm gonna ask you because like I don't get it, but like, are we banning Cashier Unicorn? Is it that like big of an issue right now?
Cash Tier Unicorn is weird because like the cash package is like so powerful because
Mhm.
like it's like Fiendsmith in a way where it just keeps like trucking.
Yeah.
Like maybe a couple like so like a couple years ago when they limited Unicorn,
Hmm.
I think that might have been like correct because when they
Yeah.
brought it to three, I don't think people realized how powerful that like one Unicorn was
Yeah.
because people were playing around it so much. People were just playing two of random extra deck cards.
Yep.
And then when you don't build for it, that card actually becomes powerful.
Hmm. It
So I don't know.
card can be nuts. Are you for or against Fenrir?
It's not that good. Like Fenrir's fine.
I
Like
agree.
I think Fenrir like it reads like a card that's 3 years old,
Hmm.
which is crazy to say. But like we're really gonna ban a card from 3 years ago now.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I
Um,
feel weird saying that we were talking about banning Shifter and we were talking like banning like Dweller, but like those cards kind of get better over time.
Difference
Or
in power. Yeah,
and
I
I don't
agree.
think Fenrir does.
No, no. Fenrir, I think, only gets he either stays at the same level or he gets incrementally worse over time.
And like it's
Um,
crazy because that card's good. Like Fenrir is a
yeah,
very very good card, but I don't think Fenrir is so good where you ban it now or hit it now. No,
yeah. So I want to go over some other unique ones here. We talked about Metaltronus. I don't think Dominus Impulse is a problem. It's just another hand trap solution, right? Like it's just another thing.
I don't think the Dominus cards
Like
are that good to begin. Like they're good. Like the Dominus cards are
yeah,
crazy, but I think the restrictions they have make them like fine.
yeah, not ban worthy. We talked about Metaltronus. We'll save this one for last because I think this is the most interesting one. I want to go over some small preemptive hits real quick. We were talking about this pre-podcast, but so new Monarch support cards are crazy. If you haven't seen them yet, go see them. I don't want to go over all of them in this podcast. There's like 4 or 5 of them or whatever. Um, TLDR, get rid of Monarch's Erupt, get rid of Majesty's Fiend, get rid of Domain. I don't care if it's preemptive. Those cards are gross. I don't want them in the game anymore. Like if we're gonna push Monarch support, that's fine. That's cool. I'm glad Lithium got the stuff he deserved, and I'm glad for Monarch fans. I'm glad for fans of old style of play. But as cool as the Monarch stuff is, unfortunately, it enables really degenerate play. It enables a lot of really like just in my opinion garbage mechanics and play lines. I think the deck is going to be very consistent. I think the deck's going to be insane, and I think players that are already skilled with Monarch already skip through some formats where they just pop up and take regional dubs and like they'll pop up at YCS is just playing straight up fucking Monarch. Like this is the new support is insane. And I think cards that say no extra deck and I have skill drain and you don't. It's like it's just gross. And cards that say you can't special summon on a 24 beat stick is also gross.
I don't know. Like
I would
okay, I'm gonna hit you with the hottest take here.
go for it. Shoot.
So I think in 2016 they hit the wrong card.
Oh.
Yeah. So okay, personally, right?
Mm.
I think like I think they should have just banned Domain years ago.
Yes. No. Absolutely.
And like
Yeah.
I don't think because I love Monarchs. Like I think Monarchs is a cool deck. I think Monarch cards are really nice. I think they're really good. But I think the issue that comes with them is that they hit the draw 2 in search over the card that actually did something.
Yes.
And like the deck that won Nats was the you can't special summon card.
Yeah.
That's dumb. No. Just hit the card that like floodgates them.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you
I
just
agree.
do that? And like hit Erupt. Like that was the answer. That was the answer. And they just didn't do it. And like they murdered Monarchs.
Yeah, I took so many games playing Draco that I shouldn't have just because I flipped that Monarch's Erupt.
Mm-hmm.
So many. Most of my wins were from Monarch's Erupt. Not afraid to admit that. Like playing Draco, they go through your resource, your loop engine, and then you tribute summon and you just flip Monarch's Erupt and they go, all right, cool, go next. I can't do anything against that.
And like
And it's so dumb. Like
that draw 2 card is crazy. Like for the time, that was nuts.
Mhm.
But like
Yeah.
looking at the power level of everything, that card was gone for way too long.
Yeah.
It didn't really do anything. And the extra deck Monarch deck was actually cool. Like
Yeah.
that was innovative. The BA Monarch deck too was really cool.
Yeah.
Like there was so many like cool things that those decks could do, but we couldn't see it because the better way to play it was just to floodgate your opponent.
Yeah.
And like I agree. Like I think cards like that should not exist. I think like even though I was trying to make like a point before where I was like, oh, like maybe there is some merit to this. No, for that there wasn't. That format was cool other than Monarch.
Yeah. Skipping through the rest of them here. We went through all of my unlimits. We went through most of my bans. This one I had hot take next to because a lot of people disagree with it. I'm a Sky Striker hater. I never believed that Engage is ever going to be a healthy card. I wish that card to fucking stay banned, personally. I don't like watching games where it gets played. I don't like watching games where it gets looped. I know we're going to get more Sky Striker support in the future again. Sky Striker's fine. I really hate Engage. I hate how splashable it is. I hate how generic it is. Again, I may not be in the right for saying that. There's a lot of arguments against that, but like, I don't like Engage personally. You say the same thing. Like I have Lancia on here, but at the same time, like you can make an argument for or against Lancia. The last couple that I have on here are the real interesting ones, in my opinion. One, Arch Nemesis, Protoss, or yeah, like I don't think card should exist in the game. I just think it every time it comes back, it does something fucking stupid. Now, my hot take on that is if you want an extension, I kind of believe that either Flag, I think Flag is the one, the Searcher. That card does some degen shit. I don't like it. I think it could go and it'd be fine. They're never going to ban it, but that's a personal thing of mine. Flag and the Nemesis stuff was always a little weird to me. And then the other stuff I have on here is so my second to last one I have on here, and I think you'll enjoy this conversation. Crossout Designator and or Called by the Grave.
Ban them both.
Thank you. Hallelujah.
No, like I don't get when people try to make arguments for these cards.
Yeah.
Because if I'm like the argument, I remember when Goki first came out, and we had triple Called by. Well, sorry, Goki didn't just come out. Sorry, Goki didn't just come out. We had it for a while. It came out in the same set as Trickstar and the other World Legacy deck.
I think Called by the Grave came out in Flames of Destruction.
It did, right? But it was a promo from Expo.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, when they used to do stuff like that. Yeah, so we had it for a while, and the issue with it was that you could just get full Goki looped, and like your hand traps didn't mean anything.
Nope. And I played 3 Called by the Grave. Yep.
I think the issue comes with where it's like there are a lot of cards where people try to make an argument for them without putting much thought into it. Called by is one of them where like it doesn't stop as card games like evolve, right? We now have like hand traps, like trap cards that you can activate from the hand that like you can't call by.
Yeah.
But like there shouldn't be a card that says Solemn Strike in the hand, because that's basically what that is.
Correct. Absolutely.
Like Gamma's limited. Gamma's effectively banned because like you can't. There's no way you're playing one brick for one Gamma. There's ways to mitigate that. I know people who do it. I don't think that's correct. I think it's funny, but I don't think that's like inherently good.
I agree.
But like, you're telling me Solemn Strike in the hand is fine.
Yeah. So I want to highlight something here. Very, very controversial argument in Yu-Gi-Oh's long spanned history, which is that I want to be able to play my non-competitive deck, so I need to be able to hit hand traps because one good interaction stops my deck. First of all, one, poor deck building. Second of all, you chose to play a lower power deck. Third of all, just because you need it to stop a higher power from stopping your lower power deck does not mean that higher power decks are not going to abuse said generic card. We talk about this with Maxi all the time in our game. We've said it for 10 plus years. We've said it in 3 different formats. Listen, a card that is generic and abusable will be abused by the higher powered level decks. So if you think Snake Eyes isn't going to play fucking Called by the Grave, you have no brain cells. If you think they wouldn't play Maxi, you have no brain cells. They're perfectly designed cards that say my combo is foolproof. If you stop me, I'm going to activate a card that's going to draw 25. I'm going to draw my fucking hand traps, and I'm going to put you in an unskippable cutscene on your turn, and I'm going to jerk off over the board. If
Yeah,
I play
like
Called by the Grave, I'm going to negate all your fucking hand traps and play through your shit anyway. So, like, so yeah.
Call by the Grave is just so weird. Where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to lump a third card into this too, but I'll do it
Yep.
after. But Call by the Grave is really weird, solely for the fact that like they just gave you Solemn Strike in a hand. Like whenever you activate a hand trap, you can just you basically just get to nullify it. Like, no, I'm doing my 1-card combo. I hope you have another card in your hand you can play. Because if you do not, because of how this game is, this isn't Edison anymore, where you're basically playing posture. Because Edison is just posturing. You can't. That's basically what Yu-Gi-Oh is. That is gone now. You can't really do that when you have Call by. Because as soon as you tell your opponent no, and it's a trap card on the opponent's turn, no.
Yeah.
No, like if they don't have a hand trap, cool. Now your end board is just better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interruption piece.
Like crossout is technically the same way. I think crossout's a little cooler, solely for the fact that you have to play the card too. But I don't think that makes it healthy.
Well, and crossout interacts with spells and traps, and so I wanted to also devil's advocate, and I wanted to say like, in the formats where D barrier was a real problem, specifically branded Sword Soul format, everyone like you remember me and Sonny, we were both playing crossout with D barrier so that people couldn't stop our lists from doing anything. Because it's like if you played, branded, you were fusion locked. If you played Sword Soul, you were synchro locked. I think there was another one there that played Xyz. It might have been Exo Sister at the time. And so everyone was just on D barrier, D barrier, D barrier. And it's like, listen, guys, I want to play the fucking game. Let me play my game. So you would play Crossout to get through the Floodgate cards because it was used for the Floodgate cards, but also it's being used as a copy of, it's so Crossout is to Called by the Grave what Molcharmies are to Maxi, in my opinion.
Kinda. Where like
Yeah.
It's a little different solely for the fact that like Molcharmies are only good going second.
That's fair. Yeah.
Crossout is only good if you play those cards. But Crossout is also Solemn Strike if you're in a mirror. If you play a mirror, Crossout just makes the game unplayable.
Dude, Crossout in the mirror is so bad.
Have you ever cross-outed an engraver? Have you ever cross-outed your opponents, like you're playing the same deck, you set up your full board, and your opponent has one card that like they can use in engine to beat you, and you can just cross it out, effectively you winning the game because you have one card.
I think the one crossout that I ever hit on someone that made them end the game was I cross-outed someone's Alistair and then invoked like Shadal Dogmatica Mirror, and it was so fucking funny, dude. Oh man,
dude, I remember I played a Tri Brigade mirror, and my opponent at a locals was maining triple crossout. He cross-outed all my kits. I just couldn't use it.
I would jump across the table.
I was like, there's no shot. And like I had no engine. I'm like, oh shit, I guess you're just better.
Most understandable crash out. I want to throw another into the loop real quick. I know we're getting close to wrap up here. Um, triple tactics and thrust.
Okay, that's actually the third card I was going to bring up.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
okay, so there is an inherent difference between thrust and talents.
yes, I agree.
Talents is better than thrust.
Yeah.
And, like, it's weird saying that because thrust says tutor for any card in the game.
By the way, I'm gonna flex real quick. This fucking
That's not QCR.
it's not QCR, but it is an ultimate.
Oh, yeah, you got. Oh, no, it's not an ultimate. It's not an ultimate. It's from Rarity Collection.
You know what I mean.
That's
It's
not
like a real
OTS
ultimate,
ulti.
like,
That's not OTS
yeah, yeah.
ulti.
No. It's not ulti as ulti. No. It is rarity click. Absolutely. I ain't flexing like that.
You ain't.
Listen, bro, I got this fucking watch from Walmart, dog. I'm not
Well,
fucking
we are not the
you know.
same. We are not the same.
At the same time, this is like a $10 card. I'll take it.
Look,
You know?
look, we take it. No,
Okay, look. You want me to flex? You want to see a real QCR? There you go. There's a real fucking QCR.
damn, that's crazy. That's not the old Champion Pack Super. Or is
No,
that?
but this is a $40 card though.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Do not look up what a Super or a Moth is worth.
I'm good.
Yeah,
good.
no, do not
No.
do that. But
So
sorry, back to it. Talents is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Why does it say hand rip?
Why does it say hand rip?
There was like three banned effects it could have chosen, and one of them was Forceful Sentry.
Mm.
No, no, like I love it.
no.
Like in my Yugioh deck, I have right here.
Mm.
I have 3 copies of it right here, right in my secret Yugioh deck that I was gonna post the other day that I just haven't yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, why? That card should not be at 3.
So I forget. Does talents? It's been a while, so guys, I apologize. Does talents let you look at the hand, or does it randomly rip?
It looks.
Oh, fuck! I thought it looked. God damn it!
Yeah,
I hate that card.
There's certain formats too, right? Where it's like there were times, like I remember I played Sword Soul for forever. Like I played Sword Soul in tier format after I kept playing Flu, and there was an argument to play talents or not. In that format, when I look back at it, I still don't know if I was correct because I don't know if talents was really that good into tier.
Mm-hmm.
But like some decks, they can't really effectively use take because they can't really link off or do anything with the body.
Yeah.
However, if you're playing a deck and you know you're going to get hand trapped, looking at the hand is always good.
Yeah.
Like that is the most broken thing you can do in this game is have information. Imagine if in poker there was a card that said I can look at my opponent's hand.
Absolutely not.
You're never losing.
No, never. You're always winning. You always know what your opponent's doing. You know what to look out for. You know what to read. You know how to counterplay. You know what they're going to do on their next turn minus their top deck. And everything that they do is going to show you what their top deck is if they don't play it right
Like
away.
imagine if there was a game of poker, right? When you can look at like you're playing Hold'em and they look at the top 5, but only you can see the top 5.
Insane.
And then it gets revealed to your opponents ever so slowly. That game would be awful.
Yeah.
Why do we have that?
So it seems like you're big on band talents.
I'm in a position where I don't think that card should be at 3. Like it's one of those cards where it keeps getting better, which is weird because like when it came out in, was that Rhoda? No, it came out in the same set as Droplet in Dogmatic.
God, what did Droplet come out in? It's in the back of my. It's not.
It's a green set. I know it's green.
Fuck. Came out with the level 4 witch that was part of the Forbidden archetype, right? Archetype, but
Maybe.
what is that? I'm gonna lose my mind.
But
We're just looking it up. Fucking
so many of the cards in that set just like have gotten better over time, or like they're a lot better later on than they were when the set dropped. Other than New Dogmatica.
You were very close. Not Rhoda. It was Rise of the Duelist,
Rise. Okay.
which is almost Rhoda in terms
ROTD.
of. Yeah, it's very. You
Yeah.
were very close. You were very close.
But like talents just becomes like better. And like thrust is of course going to become better over time too.
Yeah,
But I think the thing that makes me not like thrust is that my opponent thrusts for talents.
exactly. And that's where the issue comes in. If you limit talents, they just play two thrust, one talents.
Yeah, well,
No.
no. Because
No?
talents is better going first, right?
Mhm.
I have to have a body for them to search it.
Hold on.
Because thrust specifically says you cannot add the card to your hand unless your opponent controls a monster.
Oh, okay. And what does it do instead? It sets it.
Mm-hmm.
It sets. Okay. I was wondering what the distinction was. I didn't know if you got to choose at all times or if there was a restriction.
But
Yeah, that's fair.
I definitely think the triple talents cards could be on the ban list someday, like anywhere.
They could
But
for sure.
I definitely think talents is better than thrust. Hot take for sure.
I I get it. Yeah. One is a means to an end, and the other one is the end. Like it's the problem versus the card that gets you to the problem. Like it's just
Like there's
So
times when like I'm playing against certain decks when they thrust, I ash it immediately. Like
yeah, because you never know.
yeah,
You don't know. Um, so the last one that I have on the list here for you is one, are we hitting these, and if so, how do we hit them? And the blank is Bistials.
I think like saying what I said earlier. I
Mm,
don't think we should.
I
Like
agree.
I was sold on it for a while. Like at the beginning of the format, I thought bitch shows were really
Yeah,
like abhorrent. I think they did it a lot.
yeah,
Now I don't think they're as good. Like in the format, they're not placed very well.
hmm
Like they're only really good in Malice, and they're good against Fiendsmith. But the best way to play against Fiendsmith is to not play Fiendsmith.
yeah.
So like it creates this like loop, and
hmm
like I think Bestials are just not the best.
Yeah, because at
Like
the beginning of the format, I want to say everyone was saying ban Druisworm, right? So
no, Druisworm
it
has always been the best Bestial. Like Magma was
yeah,
good specifically because it said search Druisworm.
yes, yeah. So I guess if I'm asking you if they were to hit Bistials in a way, are you hitting? Well, one, I think most people don't play Baldrake as much anymore. They're playing Lubellions, they're playing the Magnuma, they're playing Drillsworms, they're playing the Regained. Um,
If they're
like
on Malice, they're maxing out on all the names minus Lubellion.
okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
So like I guess if you had to hit, if someone came to you and said, "Look, Konami's hitting Bistials on the next ban list," how are you going about hitting them if you just had to hit say one? How would you hit them and why?
I'm banning the fuck out of Magma.
Yeah,
It says
fair.
search any dragon.
Yeah,
Like it
that's
kills the
mine too. I
package,
go with.
but like
Yeah.
why does the package revolve around? It's the same thing with Whitebinder. Like, why am I
Mhm.
keeping a card that is so overtuned?
Yeah, it's a custom card.
Why does it
Literal
say?
custom card.
Why did it say a dragon? Why didn't it just say a bestial?
Yeah,
Why wasn't there another a thing on a dragon? Any dragon? I can search
dude.
Levianeer.
Could you imagine like 2019 toss format Danger Thunder with like all the dragon crazy toolbox shit, and then you throw in three Magnamut, and you're just like,
I
that's
don't.
crazy.
Dog, they have Brotar.
Yeah, yes, fucking Brotar is
Yeah,
crazy.
like
That card was so insane, dude.
there's so many just like randomly good cards too. Like when I look back at it, like okay, before we end the podcast, I'm going to ask you a question. I think I'm going to make this like a reoccurring question for guests.
Yeah.
What is one band card that you could play that you don't think people will notice if it's in your list?
One band card, huh?
What is one card that is banned that if you just had it in your deck list, your opponent would be like, oh, that's really good. I should have thought about playing that.
uh, Let me go through the band list here. Has to be banned, huh?
I have a card. I have two cards that I think I can get away with. And the only
Um,
reason I thought about this, I played at a regional a couple weeks back. My opponent was on Hero, I don't know
Mhm.
what they were doing there. They were donating money, but he summoned a third Mally on me, and I had to think, like, is this card at 3?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know.
yeah, that's fair.
I strictly did not know. I had to look at my opponent, like, okay, are you shitting me? Okay, is this card at 3? Like, I wasn't trying to be a dick. I'm like, I just do not know.
Mm. Yeah, it's at 3.
But anyway, what card do you think you can get away with?
What card do I think I could get away with? Um, there's a lot of options here, and right now the ones I'm looking at are not good. Like, not a good answer for this.
I think there's an
There's a,
easy one that no one knows is banned. Like
I
for
mean,
me, I
like,
think there's like an answer. I don't think it's good, but I think there's an answer.
mm, well, definitely not Fishborg Blaster. That's for fucking sure.
Nah. But like people would know about that card now because of Edison too.
Gavin, I swear to God, if you say Fairy Tale Snow, I'm gonna come through this monitor.
Dog, there are 2 cards. But
Okay.
like, I'm asking your opinion. Like, what do you think you can get away with before I tell you mine? Because I have the perfect answer.
I think in my brain, there's like 2 or 3 here that I'm looking at, and I could be entirely wrong on my mindsets, but like the first one in my brain is like without Sprite Elf being in the game, like Ronan Toden is really funny.
I
Um,
definitely think you can get a like if the player's new enough, or if they're just
mm,
coming back, they're like, oh, I love this card. They're not gonna
yeah,
know. Like Sprite is like
yeah.
old enough now where people are just like, oh yeah, no, like what's that card gonna do?
Mhm.
I can see that.
Um, I could see. Okay, wait, why am I fucking stupid? I don't remember why this card stayed banned. I'm not. It's a fusion card. I'm not even gonna get into it.
Oh wait, what card?
It was brilliant fusion. I'm sure there was some degen shit that it
Oh,
did.
there's an FTK.
Yeah, it's Master Diamond, right?
Yeah, there's like a bunch
Or
of
whatever.
FTK cards in that deck. Yeah,
Yeah. I guess those are. It has to be banned, right? Not limited.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Not delinquent duo. I think a lot of people would think that card is banned.
Oh, they're gonna read it. They're like, there's no shot.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think my pick would have to be. No, you know what? No, let's make it interesting. I'm gonna say glow up bulb.
Oh, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah. Like once
yeah.
once per duel. Like I think like people like, oh yeah, that's really good, but it's once per duel. Like, you know.
I think like that card has like a history to it. Like for me,
It
there are 2 cards that when I look at the ban list, I'm like, there's no
does.
shot people still know what these cards do.
Shoot.
One of them is gonna sound crazy. I'll start off with the non-crazy one.
Mm.
I'm gonna summon Tempest Magician. My opponent's not gonna think about it.
I'm so mad that you and I are on the same wavelength. I looked at Tempest Magician like 7 times, but the only reason why I didn't pick it is because back before that card got banned, when it was about to be on the ban list, when we got like the whole time I was like, that fucking card needs to go. That card needs to go, and no one was talking about it, and then everyone started talking about it, and I was like, thank God you all see it, and then that card got nuked into the dirt.
Yeah, apparently there was an FTK. I never saw it. I know it
Yeah,
existed, but I never saw it.
yeah.
Uh,
Because when we got the cards that supported the FTK, Tempest Magician was a much older card, I believe, and it had to do with the counters. But the counters were supported by the new spell stuff that came out,
yeah.
and it basically said I think it was like every counter do 700 damage, and you would just bing, 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 and you just keep going. It's so fucked.
Well, there's like a
So
thing with Celine.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it was Celine, yeah.
Here's my crazy answer, and I have an
Mhm.
argument to follow it.
Go for it.
We talked about this card actually a couple of times during the podcast.
Swear to God, if you say masterpiece,
So it's Eclipse Wyvern.
yeah, yeah, duh, yeah, good
And
point.
the reason why I think Eclipse Wyvern, even at the time before that card got banned, there were people who didn't. So that card wasn't. It wasn't in every Danger Thunder list.
No, not at all. It was in like, if I remember right, the card that I actually remember the most out of the list is Eclipse Wyvern because of well, that's a lie. Colossus is the one I remember the most, but Eclipse
Hmm.
Wyvern's right up there. Eclipse Wyvern was so interesting because I remember you bringing it up to me, and I was like, "This is crazy. Why isn't everyone on this?" And then we played it, and you explained to me every little tech about the card, and you were like, "This card's fucking crazy." And then like before it got banned, like half the people that were like, this card should be banned, and then people would like react to those videos of like YouTubers like talking about it being banned, be like, "What is that card? I've never seen that card before. That's
Do
insane."
you know how
Like,
many that card has been banned for like 6 years?
yes, it's been banned since like 2019. I'm pretty
He,
sure. Yeah.
the amount of people who came back to this game post Master Duel
Mm.
have no idea. You're telling
No,
me
not at all.
I can normal summon that card, turn it into Striker Dragon, and do Cold Fusion?
Yeah.
Because I remember before I end the podcast, I'm going to tell you a story.
Mm.
We were at a Columbus Regional. I was undefeated with Guru.
Mm.
It was only like round like 4. It doesn't matter. Like, but what ended up mattering was that I was put up against Jesse Cotton. Homie was going for world's points.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And this was back when like Columbus regionals would be like 500 people, 500, 600 people.
Yeah. Pretty big.
And like, I just like 2-0'd my last couple opponents. Like, I felt good. One of them was really good. The other two, I don't remember them much. But
Mm.
I'm playing against Jesse. I lose the die roll, and I hand trap him like twice. He proceeds to make spheres, tribute set Thunder Dragon Roar, proc spheres, summon out like Chaos Dragon, Levianeer or whatever. No, Chaos Dragon, the good one, the one we were talking about unbanning, Eclipse.
Oh yeah. Was it the Envoy one? I'm pretty sure.
No,
I never
no,
remember.
sorry, he summoned Eclipse,
Oh,
and
Wyvern.
and
Got it.
then he ended up doing Cold Fusion because he owned a prize card,
Yeah.
so he was able to loop it multiple times.
Insane.
And like,
Absolutely insane.
you couldn't do that unless you owned the prize card. So I
Right.
just got he had the world champ difference. Like he was the goat. And I just watched him do that and all. I have never at this point seen someone play Danger Thunder like this.
Mm.
And I'm like, there's no way. And then we go to game 2. I think I squeak out game 2.
Mm.
And then we go to game 3. And then he does like the wombo combo on me. I see no hand traps. And that's when I realized, maybe Eclipse Wyvern should not be in the game. Because until
Yeah.
you see like a card looped like 3 times because of a prize card, you're like, oh, maybe this card should not gatekeep like $2,000 prize card.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And that prize card was nuts in Danger Thunder. And
It was a level
that
8.
deck, yeah,
It was a dragon. It could banish your thunder monsters.
yeah,
It did everything. It was like perfectly designed for that deck.
literally everything. Yeah, that was so insane. And Jesse for running it too, the
Mhm.
madman that helped basically pioneer that whole thing.
No,
Um,
he told me something after too that like I still hold on to myself. Like the advice he gave me after that is still like I think the most important thing someone's ever told me about deck building.
yeah,
And I'll say it in like probably a future video, but it was very
absolutely.
very good. Yeah.
While we've been sitting here, I looked at one card that I forgot or left off the list. I don't think it'll end up being anything, but I guess since it's a topic of conversation, are you banning Ostinato or no?
No,
Okay,
it's
fair enough.
annoying, but no.
Yeah, not ban worthy. All
The last
right,
regional I
yeah,
was at,
so
someone hit me with 2 of them in the same turn. I was
it's
like,
so funny.
you're kind of the goat. He lost,
Yeah.
but like shit.
All right, so we covered the format pretty well. In conclusion, we didn't go too much into individual coverage over the YCSs, but that'll probably be better for you to do with a future episode podcast of the or sorry, a future episode of the podcast or a future YouTube video with someone who maybe was more in the format that could speak on that. We do have some like data and statistics up, but I think covering the format generically as we did was also a really good choice. We went over the bands, kind of just went over personal stories and our time in the game and backstories and such. Um, so yeah, I think this has been solid. I mean, we've been going pretty much for I think like close to 4 hours now, like if
Oh
not
yeah, no, I'm
3.
cutting this. I'm cutting some parts. Don't worry.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, that's fine.
no, I think this was a really good talk. Even though we didn't get to talk about a lot of the meta, and we kind of like went off onto the
Mhm.
ban list and a bunch of other things. I think it was really
Yeah,
fun to like talk about like old stories we had together. And I definitely would
right.
like to have you on again so we could talk about like older tournaments and stuff we played in. I think that would be actually a really fun episode.
Dude, yeah, this has been amazing. Honestly, I would love to do this again. This was a great opportunity. I'm very grateful. Thank you, Gavin, for having me on. And I do want to say that I think our position on this, even though it wasn't what we originally gauged, is really good because while we didn't cover too much of like the format, I think it's important to note that as we move forward, we do have a ban list coming up. It's been 4 months now, give or take. I think we can expect a ban list anytime. So while it is important to talk about the format at hand, it's also important to see where we're about to go into, what's about to happen, games about to change. They might honestly just smite Ryzeal and Malice and say, "Fuck it, here you go, good luck."
There's
Um,
no way. There's no shot.
there's no way, but
Yeah.
they could always do something, but we'll see. But yeah, it's always exciting talking about the game. Even though I'm not actively playing right now and haven't for some time, uh, this game brought me many, many memories over the years, and it will continue to bring me more. I'm constantly absorbing content, listening to people talk about the game, watching pros. Gavin keeps me in the loop every event that he goes to, and we get to talk and shoot the shit. So it helps bond our friendship as well. So yeah, this has been a great experience. I'd love to be back on this someday. So
Yeah, let's run it. But yeah, with that, this was Topcast, the only podcast guaranteeing you top in Yu-Gi-Oh! And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.